Odyssey app.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Bargain hunters may be looking to buy some stocks early this morning. Futures pointing to a slightly higher open after the huge sell-off on Wednesday. The Dow seeing its biggest drop in more than a year amid questions about what the Fed will be doing with interest rates. It's keeping rates steady for now, but there are 3 Fed governors who have voted to raise rates in September. This is the U.S. overnight carried out what CENTCOM is calling a heavy wave of attacks on Iran. But ABC's Mary Bruce says when it comes to the war,
Americans increasingly gloomy. A new Quinnipiac poll shows 66% of voters say the war with Iran has not been worth fighting. Trump says he's still hoping to strike a deal with Iran.
Iran launching fresh attacks of its own. Jordan this morning saying it knocked down 5 Iranian missiles. With 2 Republican senators still not fully on board with Todd Blanche's nomination to get the Attorney General job permanently, the Senate Judiciary Committee has postponed a vote that was set to take place today. This is ABC News. Buttoning down D.C. for the Grand Prix. Freedom 250 IndyCar race is scheduled to take place around the National Mall next month. ABC's Dave Packer has a preview.
As IndyCars circle Washington, D.C.'s most famous monuments on the weekend of August 22nd and 23rd, security will be dialed up to 11.
You're going to see a very high level of uniformed presence throughout the city and around this event.
Secret Service Deputy Director Matthew Quinn.
Secret Service agents, Secret Service police officers, MPD, U.S. Park Police, FBI.
Plus countermeasures for possible drones.
We're all on the same plan to make sure that this event goes off as safely and successfully as possible.
Dave Packer, ABC News.
There have been more than 250 aftershocks since the powerful earthquake in Japan this week. Death toll 34 people. Almost a year after Matt Damon won $1 million on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, his OG bestie Ben Affleck did the same last night. The final question was about the names of the pardoned Thanksgiving turkeys. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
It is 6:02 and it's clear. 67 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. St. Louis City is hearing an appeal conditional use permit to turn the warehouse behind the Armory into a data center. The appeal, filed by the Missouri Coalition for the Environment, argued the data center would harm the environment and its neighbors, along with raising energy rates.
Robert Golterman is the attorney representing the developer. He says the community benefit agreement offers significant benefits to the city.
Including among those commitments is a major financial obligation in the tens of millions of dollars to advance several key city initiatives for the years to come.
The meeting and public comment period went late into the evening hours before the board approved the appeal on a 5-0 vote.
St. Louis City Police are searching for the individuals they say ambushed them and ATF agents Tuesday night.
Within 3 minutes and 46 seconds, shots were fired at both police officers and federal agents.
St. Louis City Police spokesman Mitch McCoy sharing how long it took after officers pulled over an individual at Thekla and Oriole in Walnut Park East before they and bystanders were being shot at. McCoy says the subject of the traffic stop fled in their vehicle. The shots were fired by the occupants of a separate vehicle, a gray Ford Fusion, which police recovered after a pursuit when it was abandoned at the 1500 block of cells. McCoy says they are investigating this as an ambush of their officers.
We do not know if there is a direct connection between the traffic stop and the vehicle that fired on our police officers.
McCoy says law enforcement are asking for anyone in the area who might have surveillance or other footage of the Ford Fusion before or after the shooting to contact Crime Stoppers. He adds nobody was injured in the shooting. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
State investigators are probing a fatal officer-involved shooting in Lincoln County. The Highway Patrol says deputies responded to a domestic assault on Pinewood Drive Wednesday morning, where 69-year-old John Haynes barricaded himself inside after hours of failed contact attempts. Haynes pointed a gun at SWAT members from the front door, sparking an exchange of gunfire. Haynes died at the scene, while a SWAT member hit in his helmet by a bullet did not suffer injuries.
In St. Louis County, as of Wednesday afternoon, there were over 115 people confirmed to have cyclospora. State Health Department has notified the county.
And it is the responsibility of the county health department to contact the people infected with cyclospora. Health Director Dr. Kanika Cunningham says her department has already contacted about 90% of the people who are sick.
If you look throughout St. Louis County, and we haven't did like a massive
data analysis, but our gut instinct is that we're seeing a lot from South St. Louis County, as well as the Baldwin area. And so as we get more information, we definitely want to make sure everyone is alert and aware of these signs and symptoms. Some things that we do think is going on that people may not have access to health care. So again, at the health department, if you're experiencing any type of signs or symptoms, come see us here. We're happy to also provide testing.
Cyclospora is a parasitic disease that attacks the gastrointestinal tract and causes extreme diarrhea that can last for days, even weeks. Cunningham tells KMOX you can still eat lettuce. However, she cautions try to stay clear of boxed or bagged salads. And make sure if you are buying a head lettuce or romaine or red leaf lettuce that you thoroughly wash it when you get it home. And as KMOX told you last week, know where your vegetables are coming from. And you can do that by buying from local farmers. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
3 lawmakers in Missouri criticizing a public library in Boone County after it held a public story time and read 2 books that were part of the library's LGBTQ programming.
A day before the event, Secretary of State Denny Hoskins told the Boone County Public Library he would potentially cut their public funding if they read the LGBTQ-friendly books during the story time. He says the library has received a little over $1 million in the past 4 years, averaging about $250,000 a year from the state. During a press conference on Tuesday, Hoskins admits that he did not read the books but calls the content sexual.
A lifestyle that is not agreed upon by all parties, especially when we're dealing with, again, taxpayer dollars going to push certain lifestyles.
State Representative Wick Thomas, a former librarian, held a press conference after Hoskins, pointing out that the books were requested by residents. He disagrees with Hoskins, saying there's nothing sexual in the books.
All of these families chose to be there. I think it's also important that librarians are uniquely poised to be able to represent their community, and they buy books for their community that the community wants.
Jade Aubrey, KMOX News.
St. Charles County is giving up roughly $4 million in revenue by eliminating its personal property tax collection for 2026. However, to absorb that hit, the county council voted to keep its real estate tax rates flat compared to last year. Collector of Revenue Michelle McBride says that balance is necessary, even as they're trying to lower everybody's taxes.
At the same time, maintaining the real estate rates at the same level as last year protects our road and bridge and our dispatch and alarm funds, who depend on that money to plan and operate responsibly.
By law, the county's real estate and personal property tax revenues are strictly dedicated to those 911 dispatch and highway department funds, while the county's general operating budget relies primarily on sales taxes.
It's going on 6:08, and when we come back, we'll take a look at the roadways and the weather as well. Stay with us here on KMOX.
Registered lobbyist Mike Deering is not the kind of guy you want in the state Senate.
Did you say he was a registered lobbyist?
Sure did. When conservatives like Tricia Burns tried to pass a bill to take back the 300,000 acres in Missouri allowed to be controlled by China, lobbyist Mike Deering testified against it. When conservatives like Tricia Burns fought alongside Missouri cattlemen to require foreign beef to be labeled, lobbyist Mike Deering testified against that too. While conservatives like Tricia Burns are fighting to protect your farmland from being paved over by data centers, lobbyist Mike Deering described Google's Montgomery County hyperscale data center as a
very positive thing.
Deering also endorsed liberal Democrat Chris Koster for governor and openly mocked President Trump. Registered lobbyist Mike Deering, anti-Trump, pro-Democrat, bought out by foreign ag interest, and in love with data centers. Take down data center Deering on August 4th. Vote America First conservative warrior Tricia Burns for state senate.
Paid for by Mo Constitutional Conservative Council PAC, Scott Lady Treasurer.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Time for traffic. Roger Brands in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, everything's back on the go, Tom, on 64 at 61. Of course, they closed that westbound 64 at 70, 61 nightly. They got all the road work picked up, reopened. Everything's back on the go in all directions at that interchange. We still have this crash, though, unfortunately. Southbound 61, lane blockage involved, too, obviously, right at the Big Creek before you get to Dietrich Road. Southbound 61 is now jammed back pretty much right into Moscow Mills, almost back to Highway C. So just pay attention as you come through Moscow Mills. It's a solid jam for several miles coming down on that run to the Big Creek because of that wreck. Eastbound 70 is also a little slow right around the Wright City rest area at this time. Once you get past that point, it looks good on into Wentzville. And the rest of the interstates look great, even in the construction zones on both sides of the river right now. I'm not seeing any other delays so far for you on this Thursday morning. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Hazy sunshine mixing with some cloud later today. Our afternoon high 87. Partly cloudy tonight, low 71. Plenty of clouds tomorrow. Look for some showers and thunderstorms mainly later in the day and at night. Those thunderstorms can be severe with hail, damaging wind gusts, and flooding downpours. The high tomorrow 84. Saturday remaining mostly cloudy and humid with a couple of showers and perhaps a thunderstorm. It'll become breezy. The high just 76. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now, we've got clear skies, 67 degrees in downtown St. Louis.
The CEO of Panera is from Massachusetts.
St. Louis County Executive Sam Page on Monday's announcement that Panera is moving its headquarters out of St. Louis and to Massachusetts.
He wants to be close to home. That makes as much sense as anything else in the economic environment. Massachusetts is a state that makes a big investment in public education, and folks with families certainly recognize that.
But Page admits St. Louis has a much lower cost of living, unique assets, robust university community, and the schools are pretty, he says. But he adds this should not reflect poorly on St. Louis County or Missouri.
If you want some proof of how confusing St. Louis geography is to national corporations, just take a look at St. Louis City Hall's inbox. We get that story from KMOX's Michael Calhoun.
Under state law, major employers have to notify local leaders before closing facilities, but out-of-state legal departments often find they send those warn notices to the wrong chief executive in our area. Official state filings reviewed by KMOX show that Mayor Kara Spencer repeatedly receives closure notices for businesses that are well outside of the city limits, including one just yesterday for FedEx's facility that is actually in Maplewood. The city mayor was also notified back when Saks Fifth Avenue was closing its store at Plaza Frontenac, which is far from the city. And even Panera got confused last year when it was closing its bakery facility on South Hanley in Brentwood, giving Spencer the heads up about that. Because parts of St. Louis County use St. Louis, Missouri in their postal addresses, corporate lawyers from outside of the region seem to consistently mistake county suburbs for the city itself. And that means that city mayors and county government are not getting those layoff notices. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
That cleared out block on Kings Highway across the highway from Barnes Jewish Hospital wasn't supposed to stay an empty field. The corner has a troubled history. After years of red tape and changing ownership, the current owner, North Point Development, finally demolished a row of condemned houses there in 2024, only to then scrap their own new apartment project.
The land is now back on the market for $2.8 million, and to help it move, the city's trying a proactive approach, pre-approving tax incentives for whomever buys it. LCRA Commissioner Sean Spencer says this ensures the next buyer doesn't hit a brick wall.
Everybody kind of knows the background. It's been well documented that there was a proposal here, but it took so long to get an agreement done that it basically collapsed. And I really appreciate the fact that SLDC is putting forward this proactive redevelopment strategy.
Whoever buys the property gets 10 years of property tax abatement, which bumps up to 15 years if they include affordable housing.
What a night at 700 Clark Street, Busch Stadium in downtown St. Louis. It started out as a great night for the Cubs.
Gastelum with the pitch. A swing, and there's a high fly ball, deep right field, and that is long gone. In the Cardinal bullpen, a 2-run homer for Pete Crow Armstrong. The Cubs lead 2-0 in the 10th. And the home run ball has been a problem for the rookie Gastelum.
And the Cardinals are down 2-0, but Gastelum got himself a double play ball, got out of that, and into the bottom of the 10th we went. After 5 scoreless innings from Dustin May in what could have been his final start as a Cardinal, followed by Justin Brule, Ryan Stanek, George Soriano, and Riley O'Brien, Gastelum gives up the first runs of the ballgame. 2-0 Cubs. We're in the bottom of the 10th. Now, remember, in the 10th inning, you start with a runner at second base. That runner is Nathan Church. The batter is Lars Nootbaar.
The pitch. Nootbaar hits that ball up the middle, and it's knocked down, and there's no play. Nico Horner at second base was able to get a glove on it, and the Cardinals have runners at first and third with nobody out.
They have some life. A walk to J.J. Weatherholt. Loads the bases for Jordan Walker.
Now the pitch. Walker chops that one up the third base line. It is a fair ball. Bregman steps on third to get a force out, and the Cardinals get a run in. It's 2-1 Cubs.
And the batter is Ivan Herrera.
A double, a single tonight for Ivan Herrera. Herrera swings, and he drives that one. It goes to the gap in left center field. The ball gets down. It goes to the wall. We're tied. Walker around third. The throw to the plate. It's a Redbird winner! A Redbird winner! Light up the night in downtown St. Louis. The Cardinals came back with 3 in the 10th inning to beat the Cubs 3-2.
I mean, it feels great. You know, being able to come 2-0 right there in the last inning. You know, it's huge for the guys. I mean, we pitched really good today. We couldn't score some runs, but we did at the end. You know, shout out to the guys for a good game.
Take me through your approach at the plate during that at-bat.
Yeah, basically just trying to get the ball in there, stay out of the, you know, get that 2 runs in. You know, I got a good pitch to hit right in the middle. I execute really good.
Did you know Jordan was going to score from first the second it was off the bat?
I mean, I hit it pretty good. I saw in the gap, man. He's really fast. So I keep saying score, 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 score. He hit it. I mean, this guy is 6'8", he just runs really fast. So I was pretty sure he was going to score there.
And the Cardinals get themselves a big win, 3-2 in 10 innings. 1:15 is game time today as the Cardinals try to get a split in this 4-game series. To soccer.
St. Louis City SC midfielder Tomas Ostrak had played only about 18 minutes across all matches this season before entering Saturday's game against Colorado. 7 minutes after coming off the bench, he scored the game-winning goal, a strike later named MLS goal of the match day. Besides the win, Ostrak said it meant even more after 2 injury-filled seasons.
It was very, very emotional because I went up and downs, and finally to be back on the pitch, I felt very grateful. I really appreciate this opportunity.
City goalkeeper and captain Roman Berkey ran the length of the field to join the celebration. He says he understood what the moment could mean for his longtime teammate.
He went through a difficult phase. He was injured. He came back. He was injured again. Never really got back, into playing regularly. He's here with me from the beginning, in St. Louis. This could be the moment for him, to really get back to being confident, and I was more happy for him.
Ostrak was named man of the match in City's 1-0 victory, its 3rd straight win since the World Cup break. The team will face Real Salt Lake on Saturday at Energizer Park. Jen Cease, KMOX Sports.
That's a 7:30 start on Y98 FM Saturday. This report sponsored by Rawlings. Visit the Rawlings Experience at Westport. I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Can you believe politicians nearly doubled state spending since 2019? Yeah, that's twice the rate of inflation.
What do we get for all that extra spending? Nothing.
Yeah, and get this, over 200 loopholes are buried in our tax code, written by lobbyists for wealthy corporations.
Our tax code is rigged against us.
We get taxed on our paycheck, our home, everything we buy.
I guess somebody's got to pay for all that spending.
That's why we need Amendment 5. It puts politicians on a leash.
Forces them to cut taxes and control spending, whether they like it or not.
Amendment 5 closes the loopholes, eliminates income taxes, cuts property taxes, and gives $3,000 a year to average working families.
We decide. not the politicians.
Amendment 5 is the biggest tax cut in Missouri history.
I'm voting yes on Amendment 5. Paid for by Missouri Promise PAC. Mark Ellinger, Treasurer.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Total Information AM. Debbie Monterey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman on 104.1 FM KMOX.
6:21, time for traffic and weather. Let's start here with Roger Brand, who joins us from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, unfortunately, Debbie, there's no change out west on our situation southbound 61. This traffic reports the service of Scott Credit Union. We have a crash right at the Big Creek before you get to Dietrich Road. There's lane blockage involved, and southbound 61 is pretty much at a standstill back at Highway C in Moscow Mills. So if you're headed that way, just be prepared and have a little patience trying to get through the area. But, you know, if you want to jump over and take Highway C or take Highway Double M, you can take Double M down into Flint Hill and rejoin 61. The choice is yours, but you're going to be stuck in that jam if you stick with southbound 61 as you approach Troy. Eastbound Highway 70, just a brief slowdown around the Wright City Rest area in the construction zone out there between Warrenton and Wright City. After you get past that point, you're good to go. All the road work's been picked up at 64 and 61, so everything looks fine for you there. And everything looks fine for you on the rest of these area highways right now as well. Next update is 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Upgrade your summer ride with auto loan rates as low as 3.99% APR at Scott Credit Union. New or used, Scott Credit Union helps you love your ride and your rate. Learn more at scu.org. Rates vary, terms and conditions apply.
AccuWeather's Joe Lundberg says hazy sunshine mixing with clouds today, high of 87, partly cloudy, low 71 tonight. Now, tomorrow, a couple of showers and a thunderstorm, mainly the afternoon into tomorrow night, a high of 84 degrees. Going to feel a little more humid tomorrow. Right now, it's 68 downtown.
Well, as we continue on KMOX, Michael Calhoun with you. And Ain't Too Proud, the life and times of the Temptations continues on stage at the Muni through August 2nd. There was someone special in the audience for one of the performances this week. Otis Williams, 5-time Grammy award-winning singer and songwriter, and the last surviving member of the Temptations, was there to see it. What did you think, sir?
Well, what struck me was that they all were very good at what they were doing on stage, so they're keeping it true to form. I enjoyed it immensely.
Have you been to the Muni before? What did you think of this beautiful scene in St. Louis's Forest Park outside?
It's first time for me. You know, I've been coming to St. Louis since 1964, and I was telling some friends of mine, I think Derek and all, that as many times as we've been here to St. Louis, this is the first time that I've been around, you know, inside the city and around the suburbs, and I'm very happy. I could live here. You know, it's got a wonderful vibe. So it was great.
Do you remember the first time you came to St. Louis, and what was it like then?
Well, the first time and all the times thereafter, we had primarily were on one-nighters. You know, so we were at the Kiel Auditorium, do the show, and then get up the next morning, if not leave the same night, going on to the next one-nighter. So it's always been a one-nighter experience, but this is the first time I've been here to go around and see the city and feel the city, and it's beautiful. I love the stately homes that they have here in the city itself, so it's great being here.
When you look back on that period, Motown, Detroit, just how incredible is it to think about what came together there? You know,
you got a point there, because when we came to Motown, we started with Motown in 1961, and it was just a two-story building, and then Barry bought another building right next to it, and then a few across the street from Motown on 2648 West Grand Boulevard. But what is happening now, they are about to complete a 3-story building adjacent to Motown. And it's just a wonderful testament for something that started out as a 2-story family flat to be so well loved today and received so well. And me being a part of it, the history of Motown, it's just a wonderful testament. I cannot bring up all of the thing that I would love to say about Motown, because to see it come from that little 2-story family flat to be loved the world over, and now they have I think a 3-story building that will be open next year. You know, it's just wonderful. And like I tell people, Motown is not no happenstance. God and his infinite wisdom brought that little 2-story family flat together for a reason. And it's a true testament, because look what's happening to it today.
When it comes to preserving legacies like that, you know, in St. Louis, we just had the National Blues Museum close, and they're trying to figure out what the path forward is, what to do with all the artifacts they have, whether it's, you know, a museum like that or whether it's a stage play like this, a musical. Why is it so important to remember and defend and to remind people of these legacies?
Well, it depends on if the legacy has been that impactful for it to take on the thing that Motown is taking on, you know. So it's a very gray area. It just depends on who it is, what it is, and how it is. Motown has been so received over the world, throughout the world, that it was like almost easy answer to continue. And I must give credit to Barry's oldest sister, Miss Esther Edwards. She's the one that started the museum in Detroit. And look at it now from that. Aside from the music that Motown is known for, Miss Edwards was responsible for retaining a lot of artifacts. You know, I gave them the 4-headed microphone that we were known for. They have that there. So it just depends on what it is for them to want to pursue, making it that kind of, instrumental for it to become that kind of, something of note like that.
Well, Otis Williams, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us and talk with us here on KMOX in St. Louis. We appreciate it, sir.
Well, I appreciate you also, and it's been my pleasure.
And again, Ain't Too Proud, The Life and Times of the Temptations, the Muni premiere, runs through August 2nd.
It is 6:27. The time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
Let me tell you something about insurance. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Handshake, commission, done. Then you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business runs all year, so do the gaps and the risk. So go to Supersure.com. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, it can be too complex to just go buy a policy online. Supersure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At Supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts. It'll translate your current policy into plain English so you see what's covered and what's not. Plus a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth so you know what actually needs protecting. Go to Supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com. That's Supersure.com. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
I'm Bill Eigel. I'm a no on data centers.
Last year, when a new hyperscale data center was up for a vote in St. Charles City, I'm the only candidate for county executive who stood with you in opposition. Meanwhile, Steve Ellman was writing op-eds in support of data centers. In fact, he spent $400,000 of your taxpayer money to identify 6 locations just for data centers in St. Charles County. I'm Bill Eigel, and if you don't want data centers in our county, then I'm asking for your vote on August 4th.
Paid for by Eigel from Missouri. Lisa Borchers, treasurer.
The trade deadline is fast approaching, and Cardinals news could break at any moment. Will they buy? Will they sell? Every move shapes the future. Stay with KMOX Sports for breaking news, trade rumors, and expert analysis. KMOX is where you hear from the people making it.
There are things that pop up within a couple hours of the deadline that didn't seem to be at all possible.
On air, on X, at KMOX Sports, the voice of your Cardinals. KMOX.
At 6:30, sunny and 67 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Tom Ackerman.
I'm Debbie Monterey, and this is Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got our trouble on 61, unfortunately, folks, and I found out a little bit more information. It's an overturned tractor-trailer crash that was hauling produce, food, southbound 61. This is the crash that's at right at the Big Creek between John Creech and Dietrich Roads. So still have lane restrictions. They're offloading the semi, and oddly enough, they can't locate the driver, or at least as of about an hour ago, they couldn't locate them. So I'm not sure what the situation is there with that. But again, it's a tractor trailer crash. That's why it's taken a while to clear. And southbound 61 is pretty much at a standstill back at Highway C in Moscow Mills. So you may want to jump on C or double M there. Or if you're up closer to 47, maybe take that over to 79 or some other way if you know the local roads better to get around that. Seeing a little bit more of a backup as well on eastbound 70. It's more stop and go now through that work zone around the Wright City rest area. Once you get into Wright City, though, you're back on track. The rest of these area highways don't look bad. The ramps, North 55 getting onto North 270, look a little slow down south. Things are still okay on the Illinois side. No delays on your area interstates as of this time. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is going to be a pretty nice day today. Hazy sunshine, 87 degrees, and then tomorrow a high of 84 degrees, although we'll be looking at mostly cloudy skies and maybe a couple of showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening tomorrow, some with hail and damaging winds, maybe flash flooding. Then Saturday, high of 76 degrees. That's the high. And again, we could see some showers and thunderstorms. Right now, it's clear and 67.
3 people are injured following an overnight stabbing. It happened at an abandoned school at 15th Street and Carr Street in North St. Louis. KMOV reports police found 3 men with stab wounds at the scene. 1 victim is in critical condition and the other 2 are stable. Multiple people were detained at the scene.
A St. Louis County man is charged with stealing copper wire and causing an apartment complex to flood. Michael Wright has been charged with 2 counts of second-degree burglary after he admitted to the theft, which flooded and caused massive damages to vacant apartments. His hearing is set for August 31st.
An appeal of the data center to be built in the warehouse behind the Armory is...
The Missouri Coalition for the Environment is arguing the data center will harm the environment, raise energy rates, and make people sick. Robert Golterman, the attorney representing the developers David Lambiaso, argues those concerns are not based in evidence.
It is important that this board focus its review on actual evidence and not speculation or conjecture, which is essentially what appellants are offering.
The Missouri Coalition for the Environment is asking the conditional use permit be rescinded and only reissued with stricter protections. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
The appeal was unanimously approved late last night.
More than 140 local logistics workers are facing layoffs as FedEx prepares to consolidate its St. Louis operations. State filings confirm the permanent shutdown of its ship centers in Earth City and on South Hanley as of September 28th. This impacts 75 full-time employees in Earth City, 68 in Maplewood. FedEx says affected staff were told about this in April and are eligible for transfer or severance.
What's interesting in light of our city-county government's debate is that out-of-state FedEx legal team sent the official warrant filing for the Maplewood facility to St. Louis City Hall instead of Maplewood or St. Louis County officials.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. It is 6:34.
There's a saying, it takes a group of good men to build a barn and only one to tear it down. Well, a few Jeff City politicians are at it again, tearing things down with Amendment 5 and Amendment 4. No on 5 and 4. 5 takes our money with higher sales taxes, higher taxes on gas, guns, and groceries, a sales tax hike on rent and diesel, seed and feed. 4 takes away our constitutional right to vote and go around the establishment politicians and to stop higher taxes. Takes away our safety valve, a vote of the people to stop or reverse a dumb idea like the everything tax. I'm a no. A heck no. No. No on Amendment 5. No on Amendment 4. No on both 4 and 5. Paid for by no on the everything tax.
It is 6:35. It's time for our Bloomberg Money Minute. It's sponsored for you by Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano, elder law attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. The Federal Reserve is in focus for investors. The central bank left interest rates unchanged yesterday for a fifth consecutive meeting. However, Chair Kevin Warsh offered little clarity on the path ahead as inflation remains a concern. The market reaction was harsh. Stocks ended the day sharply lower, with the Dow dropping 1,153 points. This morning, stock futures are rebounding. Meantime, Facebook parent Meta gave a disappointing quarterly revenue forecast. This is raising questions about whether the billions of dollars Mark Zuckerberg is pouring into artificial intelligence are paying off quickly enough. And Walmart is making a major push into electric vehicle charging, quietly becoming one of the fastest growing networks in the country. There are now EV chargers at about 326 Walmart stores, with another 300 or so stations under construction. The strategy isn't just about selling electricity, it's about getting shoppers through the door while they charge their cars. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Well, it is the dog days of summer for sure. And speaking of your dog, please do not be leaving your dog in the car, even though the weather has cooled off. When it's 70 or over, don't take Rover, as the Humane Society of Missouri likes to say, and that is good advice. But also, now, if you can get there before the end of business tomorrow, the Humane Society of Missouri is making it even easier to welcome a new best friend into your family with special adoption savings. $75 off the adoption fee of every large dog, or if you adopt a kitten, it's $25 off the adoption fee. So if you're looking for somebody to keep you walking and active, or maybe just a little couch potato to watch TV with you, or just a little fuzzy kitten to keep you company, every adoption includes a pet that's been cared for by the dedicated staff and the veterinary team at the Humane Society of Missouri. They do such amazing work. They don't just help animals in the St. Louis region, but they go all over the state with their animal cruelty task force, rescuing animals in need and giving them a second chance. And you can help by adopting, fostering, or donating today. You can get all those details at the Humane Society's website, hsmo.org.
This year, America celebrates 250 years, 2.5 centuries of courage, sacrifice, and family stories passed down from one generation to the next. Hi, I'm Nick Mako.
And I'm Adam Baselogger, founders of Legacy Box. Your family's piece of the American story is sitting in an attic or closet right now, trapped on aging VHS tapes, camcorder tapes, film reels, and fading photos.
Those boxes hold moments you can never recreate. Your wedding day, your children's voices when they were little, grandparents coming back to life on screen.
Over 2 million families have trusted Legacy Box. And we've just partnered with the USO to digitize fragile handwritten letters from World War II, helping preserve American history for future generations.
As America turns 250, remember that your family is a part of the American story. Preserving those voices, faces, and moments is a part of your responsibility to the next generation. Don't let them disappear on your watch.
Visit legacybox.com/radio for our amazing America 250 sale. That's legacybox.com/radio to save.
In a county full of slick politicians, one man never got the memo. Jake Zimmerman. He may not be cool, but as county assessor, Zimmerman delivered. Here's Jake.
I stopped casinos taking money from our schools and cracked down on wealthy developers dodging taxes.
The St. Louis American called his office a model of respectful competence, and the Post-Dispatch just endorsed Zimmerman in his campaign for county executive for his pledge to take the drama out of county government. As county executive, he'll make life more affordable and stand up to MAGA's attacks on our rights.
I'm not flashy, but I get results, and I've got your back.
Then there's Brian Williams. Williams voted with MAGA Republicans to open the door to extreme abortion bans, and now MAGA is bankrolling Williams with $150,000 in donations. Brian Williams and MAGA can't be trusted. Jake Zimmerman is on our side. Paid for by Citizens for Jake Zimmerman. Jeannie Kirkton, Treasurer. And Doug.
Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons, and lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Today, the Cards, the Cubs. Ameren Total Access 1220. First pitch 1:15. Cardinals Radio. 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right, it's 6:40, and we owe you a check of the roadways and the weather. Roger Brand is keeping his eye on things. He is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center with the very latest.
Well, we still have a trouble out to the northwest in the Westplex, Debbie, unfortunately. This traffic reports the service of Steve Butts and the entire Crawford Butts family. That's the crash on southbound 61. It turns out it's an overturned semi, a loaded food truck. That crashed southbound 61 right near the Big Creek between John Creech and Dietrich Road. So they have lane restrictions, obviously, while they try to offload it and then remove it. It's a solid jam back into Moscow Mills. You can take C to the east, Double M south down to Scott and Meddy Roads into Flint Hill on Highway P. Probably makes the most sense. If you're going to take Highway J to the west, just be advised J is closed at the Big Creek for bridge work, so you won't be able to get all the way through there. Eastbound Highway 70 Midway in from Warrenton to the Wright City rest area is backed up in that work zone. Once you get past that point, it looks good through Wright City and beyond. Northbound 55, the right lanes north of Butler Hill are a little busy. Illinois drivers still have a good run going, headed for the bridges. As America celebrates its 250th anniversary, Steve Butts and everyone at Crawford Butts Insurance wish everyone a safe and joyful summer. Proudly serving the community for generations. Happy 250th, America. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's 6:42, and say good morning once again to our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg. It looks nice out the windows of Studio B.
So far, so good, Debbie. Starting out upper 60s, low 70s with clear skies and sunshine. That sunshine will start to mix with some clouds today, and it will be a warm day. We're expecting a high this afternoon to get to 87. Then tonight will be partly cloudy with an overnight low somewhere closer to the 70-degree mark. Tomorrow, though, it's not going to be as nice. There'll be an increase in clouds throughout the day, and we expect some showers and thunderstorms to move in from the north and west. They'll be most numerous tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow night. And there is a threat for severe weather, damaging winds, hail, and, of course, flooding downpours. The high about 84. Even Saturday, I think, is unsettled. A lot of clouds. That keeps us in the 70s again. We don't do that very often at this time of the year, but we're going to do it again on Saturday with scattered showers and maybe a thunderstorm. But behind this feature, it's humid for Sunday, but the clouds break for some sunshine. We'll get into the low 80s, mid-80s with more sun than clouds Monday. Still a chance for a shower. Right now, 68 at St. Peter's, 70 in Florissant with that sunshine at 72 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right, thank you, Joe. It is now 6:43. In a late evening announcement, the Senate Judiciary Committee chose to postpone its meeting to vote on Todd Blanche's nomination for Attorney General, which was scheduled to take place tomorrow morning. The decision reportedly comes after key Republicans indicated they would not support Blanche's bid without written assurances from the Justice Department on the Trump IRS settlement. A new wave of U.S. strikes hitting dozens of targets across Iran. Saudi Arabia now entering the fight, joining the U.S. to fire missiles at Iranian-backed militias in Iraq. Just days ago, Trump said the U.S. and Iran were in very deep talks, which he described as very friendly. But the U.S. launching a barrage of powerful new attacks hours after the president leveled that threat. New polling tonight last night shows Americans becoming increasingly concerned about the cost of living since the start of Trump's war in Iran. The national average for a gallon of gas is now $4.08. That's back where it was in June before the Iran war ceasefire was announced. And with prices also going up for other staples like groceries, A new Reuters poll finds nearly 60% of Americans now describe the economy as weak. The Federal Reserve officially holds its target rate steady, taking a look at previous monthly data that showed price hikes starting to trail off across the economy. However, Stifel Director of Investments Eric Roberts says fresh global conflict could quickly derail that stability.
Now, that may all be coming undone as we speak because oil prices have been pushing higher again amid those renewed tensions in Iran. So when we get to the next Fed meeting, we may have more to talk about as far as interest rates are concerned.
Following the announcement, bond yields immediately ticked higher. When it comes to increasing construction employment, the St. Louis region was second in the nation over the past year, according to federal labor data. The Associated General Contractors of America says employment in the St. Louis region for construction was up 16% from June of last year to this year, from just under 81,000 to more than 93,000 jobs. Only the Houston area added more jobs in that year timeframe. Despite the good news, the association's Ken Simonson says there are a number of things that could put the brakes on job growth, including resistance to new data centers, future federal transportation funding, the loss of workers who are being arrested or deported, and volatile prices for materials. It is now 6:46, and one of St. Louis... Oh, we'll take a break here, and we've got sports on your way. This is Total Information AM.
Congress doesn't need more politicians. For nearly 30 years, Joan Von Dross dedicated her life to helping students learn, grow, and succeed. Now she's running for Congress to fight for lower healthcare costs, stronger public schools, and a more affordable future for Missouri families. Teachers solve problems. Politicians play politics.
I'm Joan Von Dross, Democrat from Missouri CD2, and I approve this message. Vote for me on August 4th.
Paid for by Von Dross for Congress.
I'm Tom Ackerman, Who's Hot, Who's Not, sponsored by St. Louis Composting, Growing Gardens, and Making Memories. Let's get the latest from our broadcasters after a great night at the ballpark.
With Mike Claiborne, I'm John Rooney. Last night at Busch Stadium, you like game winners?
I love game winners, especially last night, starting with great pitching. And then the game, the way it ended was just incredible. This was one of the best games we witnessed at Busch Stadium last night, and hopefully it'll be the start of something good.
Ivan Herrera at the plate in the 10th. Weatherholt is the tying run at second. Walker, the winning run at first. A double, a single tonight for Ivan Herrera. Herrera swings, and he drives that one. It goes to the gap in left center field. The ball gets down. It goes to the wall. We're tied. Walker around third. The throw to the plate. It's a Redbird winner! A Redbird winner! The Cardinals try to gain a split in the series today behind Andre Palante, and we're on the air at 12:20. 3-2 Cardinals in 10 last night.
With more, KMOX's Matt Pauley.
It seems likely that Dustin May has made his final appearance for the Cardinals this year. With the trade deadline looming, May throws 5 shutout innings against the Cubs and is embraced in the dugout with a swarm of hugs as his night and potentially Cardinals career comes to an end. Manager Oliver Marmol is appreciative of what May has done for the club since being signed as a free agent.
He's done a really nice job, and he did it again tonight. He gave us 5 strong, 1 hit, and just dominated. And you can tell by the players' reaction when he's out there, man, you want to fight for him. He's done that all year, but he's taken the ball every time out. He had the stretch where he got hit in the ankle and kind of missed a little bit, but overall, man, he's answered the bell and he's done well.
It's May's 4th scoreless start this year and 2nd time he's given up just 1 hit. At Busch Stadium, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
St. Louis Composting, Growing Gardens, and Making Memories. St. Louis Composting at stlcompost.com. You know, we all felt that brutal Missouri drought last summer, and here we are this summer. We are getting some extreme temperatures. Top dressing your lawn makes it significantly more drought resistant, meaning a healthier yard and a lower water bill. Refresh your entire landscape with a fresh layer of mulch in your flower beds and around your trees. That's the fastest way to make your yard pop with a beautiful, well-kept look. Now is the perfect time for that full landscape cleanup. Add compost to your garden beds. And if you're not sure how much you need, use the material calculator at stlcompost.com to figure out exactly how much soil or mulch your project requires. 9 retail locations all over the St. Louis area. Load up your own pickup truck or trailer on site or stay home and schedule a delivery online. St. Louis Composting, Growing Gardens, Making Memories.
The 3-2 pitch with the runner going a swing.
Ready to elevate your game? Join the MBA Sportscasters Forum on Tuesday, September 15th in St. Louis. Learn from Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and Hall of Famer John Rooney as they break down play-by-play, reporting, interviewing, and covering the game. Then cap off the day with the Cardinals versus Giants at Busch Stadium. Step into the booth. Sharpen your skills. Go to KMOX.com/events for details and registration. Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 6:50, and this is Total Information AM for Thursday, July 30th. I'm Debbie Monterey, along with Tom Ackerman. And let's check in with Roger Brand. He's keeping his eye on things from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Unfortunately, Debbie, there's still no change on southbound 61. This traffic reports a service of I-3 Broadband. We have this overturned semi-crash, a produce loaded with some sort of perishables at the Big Creek between John Creech and Dietrich Roads, lane restrictions, and a solid jam back into Moscow Mills. 47 still doesn't look bad over to 79. 79 has about a mile slowdown coming into North Main Street, but it's just a slowdown. You can take C, you can take double M to, I think it's Scott to Meddy Road down to P. That's probably a good one as an alternate. Eastbound Highway 70, midway in from Warrenton, the Wright City Rest Area. You've got delays once you get to Wright City itself. It looks good. We have an incident eastbound 70. Looks like a crash at Jennings Station. Traffic is backed up at Lucas Hunt now. Westbound 64, the right lanes are a little slow at the Interbelt. Northbound 55, the right lanes are a little slow through Butler Hill. Eastbound 5570 a little heavy at 111, and 64 a little heavy eastbound getting on to 70 at the construction area. Summer celebrations are here, and i3 Broadband keeps you connected. Head over to i3broadband.com/radio today or call 1-866-806-5485 to upgrade today, because life runs better on fiber, and i3 Broadband is here for you. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg says hazy sunshine today, mixing with clouds, high of 87, pretty much a carbon copy of yesterday. Partly cloudy, low 71 tonight. Tomorrow, though, a little different. Showers and thunderstorms mainly in the afternoon into tomorrow night. It'll be a little more humid, high of 84. Saturday, humid, high only 76 with some showers. Currently, it's 68 downtown.
The news continues at 6:52. Drowning and boat-related deaths have doubled on Missouri waterways this year, and the Highway Patrol says there are several reasons why.
Missouri State Highway Patrol Lieutenant Eric Brown tells Missouri Net many of the recent drownings share common factors.
Most of these have been people that are swimming and have become exhausted, or they stepped off into deep water. Their swimming skills weren't as high as they thought they were, or maybe they were a non-swimmer, or they were too young to be a good swimmer.
Brown says 30 people have been killed in drowning and boating-related incidents on Missouri waterways so far this year, compared to 15 during the same period last year. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
This is Shark Week. How is it being celebrated at the St. Louis Aquarium? We asked Risk Hollister, the curator of aquatics and life support systems at the aquarium.
We have opened the back of house area to Shark Canyon for all guests. So you get to go back into the husbandry areas, the life support areas where we work with these animals and oversee the tank. And so you can walk the perimeter, you can walk across our rope bridge, and you can see divers in the water. You can see feedings during certain times of the day that we do that. This is a unique vantage point that's not often given, and I can't name an aquarium that also does that.
Get everything from dime study rings, sunken boats.
That is Booker DeRoche. He has made a lucrative living diving for things you might drop in a lake or river.
The business is based at the Lake of the Ozarks, but DeRouche goes all over the state and even other states for specialty dives.
We've gotten calls to go retrieve a putter head that was used in an accidental assault at a golf course.
That took 2 days to find in the muck. In another dive, he found a glass eye. The person jumped off a platform at Lake of the Ozarks and it popped out.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I've come up with a lot worse.
Yeah.
And I think we can talk about that on air.
He's working right now to find a ring that's worth $25,000 to $30,000.
We don't charge to go look for them, but if we ever do find them, it'd be a pretty good payday.
He says a lot of phones end up at the bottom of the lake, and most of the time, they work when they're fished out. If you need help finding something, go to aquaticcowboy.com. Beth Coughlin, KMOX News.
Another dog park could be coming to St. Charles County, and it could be one of the largest in the entire state. The County Council this week approved a design contract for Sundust Preserve to be built next to the park at New Melly Lakes. The land was donated to the county by Dave and Mary Jane Wolk for the purpose of a dog park. Plans for Sundust Preserve include miles of hiking and walking trails, 50 acres of off-leash areas, and a dog playground.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement. It's your birthday.
Happy 67th birthday to our guy, Ricky Horton, Cardinals broadcaster, celebrating a birthday today, as well as former Cardinal Tom Pagnazzi. Pags is 64. Some celebrity birthdays as well. Arnold Schwarzenegger is 79. Lawrence Fishburne, 65. Lisa Kudrow, 63. Vivica A. Fox, 62. And Hilary Swank is 52.
Wow. Local celebrity birthdays sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back. Chris Hankins, Kenny Joseph, Ella Emanuel Harris. Happy first birthday from your adoring Peepaw. Happy birthday wishes going out to Brian Goodwin from the Life Group. Also, Fran Levine and Lisa Bedian.
This is the best birthday ever.
Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. We are discussing bone cancer. July is Bone Cancer Awareness Month, and visiting with us is Dr. Angela Herbie, medical oncologist at Siteman Cancer Center. Dr. Herbie, thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start with a sarcoma. What is a sarcoma?
So sarcomas are cancers that start in either bone or the soft tissues that hold our bodies together, like cartilage, fat, muscles, nerves. First of all, I think people say sarcomas are bone cancers, but it's really a group of about 100 different types of rare cancers, and there's about 15,000 new cases per year. And sarcomas account for only about 1% of cancers in adults, but they make up about 20% of cancer diagnoses in children.
Dr. Angela Herbie with Siteman Cancer Center. I'm Tom Ackerman. Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, visit siteman.washu.edu.
New Game Plus with Oxy makes your laundry smell incredible and fights stubborn smells, like the ones your dog Biscuit brought into your freshly made bed last night. But you washed that all away with Game, and now you're drifting asleep to the scent and sound of waves. Ah, nope, that's the dog licking your ear.
Biscuit.
It just might be our greatest scent ever, now with odor-fighting power. New Game Plus with Oxy.
When Donald Trump needs conservative votes to help pass his agenda for Missouri, Representative Trisha Burns never answers the call. Trisha Burns has missed 370 votes. Burns is bucking President Trump's priorities. Burns did not vote to stop DEI initiatives, prevent China from owning Missouri land, defund Planned Parenthood, and Burns did not vote to ban boys from girls' sports. Trisha Burns not showing up for Missouri and President Trump. Instead, Trisha Burns spends her time pulling pranks on the suicide prevention hotline. Yes, you heard that right. Trisha Burns lied to the police and staged a fake suicide emergency. She sent a series of messages to the hotline and said she, quote, had a gun to her head, end quote. When she got caught, she said there'd be no consequences because she's a politician. By August 4th, vote to show Trisha Burns that there are consequences to being bad at your job.
Let's Go Brandon PAC paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Chris Foss, Treasurer.
It is 6:58. Here is Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still have our big jam on southbound 61, Debbie. That crash and overturned semi right near the Big Creek between John Creech and Dietrich Roads has lane restrictions and a solid jam. It hasn't gotten any worse recently. It's jammed right as you get into Moscow Mills proper, so a bumper-to-bumper jam there on southbound 61. Eastbound 70, a little bit of a backup right as you approach the Wright City Rest area in that construction zone. And then we've got that crash. It looks like it's the left lane that's blocked. Eastbound 70 at Jennings Station Road. Eastbound 70 is jammed between Bermuda and Lucas Hunt now. If you want to take the inner belt down as an alternate to 64, that looks great. Eastbound 64 looks great. Both directions of 64 for that matter. Through the inner belt, there are no delays. Northbound 55 looks good coming up from Festus. On the Illinois side, everything's we're sort of getting into that 7 o'clock lull. The little delays we had on westbound 64 at 70 are gone. And eastbound 55, 70 doesn't look bad east of there. Next update at 7:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
I'm Sean Malone. The other night, St. Louis City police officers and federal agents were ambushed by gunfire. I'll tell you what happened coming up.
I'm Debbie Monterey.
When out-of-state companies try to do business in our area, even sending a note to the right city hall gets confusing. I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
Cyclospora cases are on the rise in St. Louis County. I'm Maria Aquina with what you need to know.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Hazy sunshine mixing with clouds today. Our high 87.
Herrera swings and he drives that one. It goes to the gap in left center field. The ball gets down. It goes to the wall. We're tied. Walker around third. The throw to the plate. It's a Redbird winner! A Redbird winner!
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
It's 7 o'clock. ABC News is now.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Fresh attacks across the Middle East. Jordan saying it had to shoot down several Iranian missiles. Kuwait says an Iranian strike hit a Chinese company, killing one person. And CENTCOM carrying out strikes overnight after President Trump declared,
"We're going to hit him very hard."
That military action, one of three options that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu sees for the way forward. Netanyahu spoke with ABC's Lindsay Davis around the ways forward this week.
He's got basically three options. One, to indeed succeed in making a deal. Two, to continue the blockade. Three, to take military action. Anything that will produce the end of Iran's nuclear program is what we want. That's our common goal. We talked about it.
Stock markets may be ready to rebound a bit after a day that saw the Dow sink by 1,100 points. Its worst sell-off in more than a year. Search teams looking for a 10-year-old swept away by floodwaters in northern New Jersey. This is ABC News. The fastest growing Ebola outbreak in history has killed more than 1,500 people in eastern Congo, marking a 50% increase in just a week. Explosive new allegations against a popular Oscar winner. He is denying it strongly, but the accusations are there. Here's ABC's Kana Whitworth.
Jared Leto is facing new allegations of sexual misconduct from multiple women in the BBC documentary Jared Leto, Hollywood's Dark Secret. ABC has not independently verified these claims. 4 of the women say they were teenagers when they met Leto, who was in his 30s and 40s. Leto denying the allegations, saying in a statement, "I have never sexually assaulted anyone in my entire life. These claims are absolutely and categorically false."
U-Haul is out with its mid-year statistics on who's moving where based on one-way rentals of trucks and trailers. Baby boomers are flocking to the Carolinas, according to the DIY moving company, while millennials and members of Gen X are headed to Texas and Florida. I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
It is 7:02 and it's sunny and 68 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. We'll have the full forecast for you coming up in just a matter of moments. In the news this morning, a Board of Adjustment is hearing an appeal to the conditional use permit to build a massive data center approved for the warehouse behind the Armory.
By the Missouri Coalition for the Environment. Elise Schaefer, speaking on their behalf, contends the data center, once operational, will make residents sick through low-frequency sounds, forever chemicals, and air pollution.
This facility will emit air pollution that causes asthma and other respiratory illnesses.
She also argues there is a great concern the massive amount of electricity consumed by this proposed data center would raise rates. She's asking the conditional use permit be rescinded and resubmitted with stricter guardrails. The attorney representing the developers argues the conditions set in the community benefit agreement with the city are thorough and extensive, adding the concerns are speculative and not evidence-based. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
The board approved the appeal in a 5-0 ruling.
Tuesday night, St. Louis City police officers alongside ATF agents and pedestrians came under a rapid fire of gunshots in what law enforcement is investigating as a potential ambush. According to St. Louis City's police spokesman Mitch McCoy, officers pulled an individual over, and less than 4 minutes later, a separate vehicle, a Ford Fusion, pulled up and opened fire.
McCoy says this is being investigated as an ambush of the officers.
There were multiple marked police Tahoes, 2 of them, that had their emergency lights activated, and somebody with no regard opened fire on that entire block.
McCoy says the individual who was pulled over sped away after the shooting. It isn't known if or how he was involved with the shooters. He adds the shooters were able to flee the scene. He asks anyone with information to contact Crime Stoppers.
3 people injured following an overnight stabbing that happened in an abandoned school at 15th and Carr in North St. Louis. KMOV reporting police found 3 men with stab wounds, 1 victim in critical condition. The other 2 are stable. Multiple people were detained at the scene.
A resident-led traffic safety town hall will take place tonight in Overland. The CEO of Young Voices with Action, a local nonprofit, is hosting a public forum for residents to express their road safety concerns and ideas. The meeting starts at 6:30 at the Parkview Library.
Rick Bratton, a state senator from Cass County, has issued a sunshine request for Boone County Public Library because it held a story time for toddlers and read 2 books as part of the library's LGBTQ programming.
This comes after the Boone County Public Library read 2 books during an LGBTQ-themed story time that some Missouri lawmakers called sexual. State Senator Rick Bratton's sunshine request is asking for information on the event's organization, advertising materials, personnel, and expenditures.
It's making sure that not one lifestyle that is sexualizing children is being pushed upon them.
State Representative Wick Thomas, a former librarian, counters there's nothing sexual in the books. He takes issue with how Bratton characterizes families like his.
I came out at 16 in rural Missouri, actually in the same district that Senator Bratton represents now, which is why it is especially infuriating that his language is going to harm kids like me.
Bratton vowed to inspect every Missouri library for funding of LGBTQ events and to bring the issue into the upcoming legislative session. Jade Aubrey, KMOX News.
It's 7:06 on Total Information AM. As of Wednesday afternoon, there were 117 people infected with cyclospora in St. Louis County. 11 of them confirmed Tuesday night.
St. Louis County Health Director Dr. Kanika Cunningham says once a lab test confirms a person has cyclospora, the state then notifies the health department where the case is.
Of the 106 cases before the 11, my team actually attempted to contact all of those 106, and we've spoken with about 90% of those. As a local public health department, we are responsible for carrying out the investigation.
Is there any indication yet where this is coming from here?
So what we're seeing, majority of the people is tied back to eating some type of lettuce, and unfortunately it is at Taco Bell. We've seen maybe a few cases with Walmart, but for the most part, majority of it is Taco Bell.
Dr. Cunningham tells KMOX many of the cases are from South St. Louis County and Baldwin as of right now. If you do not have a health care provider and you are exhibiting symptoms of extreme diarrhea, you should contact the health department where you live. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
One St. Louis developer is showing his commitment to improving the heart of the city by establishing a multi-million-dollar investment fund. New and Found CEO Steve Smith says the $15 million fund is seed capital to help other developers get their projects going. He believes the fund could help leverage as much as $300 million in development across the central corridor of the city, according to the Business Journal. New and Found has had great success with City Foundry and is in the process of a $195 million redevelopment of the Mansion House apartments across from the Arch.
It's 7:07, traffic and weather next.
And Doug.
Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons, and lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Can you believe politicians nearly doubled state spending since 2019? Yeah, that's twice the rate of inflation.
What do we get for all that extra spending? Nothing.
Yeah, and get this, over 200 loopholes are buried in our tax code, written by lobbyists for wealthy corporations.
Our tax code is rigged against us.
We get taxed on our paycheck, our home, everything we buy.
I guess somebody's got to pay for all that spending.
That's why we need Amendment 5. It puts politicians on a leash.
Forces them to cut taxes and control spending, whether they like it or not.
Amendment 5 closes the loopholes, eliminates income taxes, cuts property taxes, and gives $3,000 a year to average working families.
We decide, not the politicians.
Amendment 5 is the biggest tax cut in Missouri history.
I'm voting yes on Amendment 5. Paid for by Missouri Promise PAC. Mark Ellinger, Treasurer.
A common question I receive is,
How is the market right now? It just seems so volatile. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. If you want to buy or sell but feel overwhelmed by the whiplash of the market, then let's talk. With over 23 years as a broker, I have the exact experience you need to help you navigate this tricky market. Call me at 314-441-4444. 314-441, all fours. And remember, why pay more than two?
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
The trade deadline is fast approaching, and Cardinals news could break at any moment. Will they buy? Will they sell? Every move shapes the future. Stay with KMOX Sports for breaking news, trade rumors, and expert analysis. KMOX is where you hear from the people making it.
There are things that pop up within a couple hours of the deadline that didn't seem to be at all possible.
On air, on X, at KMOX Sports, the voice of your Cardinals. KMOX. This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
7:10, traffic and weather every 10 minutes on Total Information AM. Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, there's still no change on southbound 61. Still a solid jam as you approach Moscow Mills, and it's at a standstill pretty much all the way down. That tractor-trailer crash that occurred before 5 a.m. at the Big Creek between John Creech and Dietrich Roads is the culprit. Produce was a truck, refrigerated tractor-trailer, so they have to offload all that and load it onto another truck and then remove it. So, again, that's still a monumental jam there, southbound 61. In fact, initially they couldn't even find the driver to that overturned semi. I'm not sure if they've located that person or not yet. Eastbound Highway 70, you've got slow traffic through the Wright City rest area. It opens up before you get to Wright City proper. A little bit of a backup. Lucas Hunt into Jennings Station. Looks like they got the cars on the flatbed, so it's still in the left lane, but hopefully they'll clear this pretty soon. Eastbound 30 is a little busy. Mauer to 270 on the Illinois side. Eastbound 64 getting on to 70 there through Exchange. Of course, it's down to one lane, and then you've got roadwork delays both sides of 111 eastbound after that. Next update at 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather. Hazy sunshine will mix with some cloud later today with a high of 87. Partly cloudy tonight, though 71. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm, mainly in the afternoon and into tomorrow night. Any thunderstorm can produce hail and damaging wind gusts and cause flash flooding. Tomorrow's high 84. Saturday, mostly cloudy and humid with a couple of showers and perhaps a thunderstorm. It'll become breezy. Saturday's high only 76. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 68 in Florissant, 68 in St. Peters, sunny and 68 degrees downtown at the Arch.
St. Louis County Executive Sam Page is weighing in on Panera's decision to move the headquarters from Missouri to Massachusetts.
Panera is a St. Louis success story. A local guy who lived down the street from me in Creve Coeur started St. Louis Bread Company, a nice guy who sold out 15 years ago, and it's been sold twice, and now it's $1 billion enterprise.
Page says St. Louis should be proud of the Panera success story and points out that the CEO is from Massachusetts.
Out-of-state corporations trimming their St. Louis footprint keep running into a uniquely local problem.
When national companies file state-mandated layoff notices, their corporate legal teams routinely send the paperwork KMOX finds to the wrong government. That's because suburban facilities carry a St. Louis mailing address, and out-of-state lawyers repeatedly find they notify St. Louis City Mayor Kara Spencer about closures that are actually located entirely in St. Louis County. Memphis-based FedEx just yesterday sent City Hall its official notice for closing its Maplewood Ship Center and laying off 68 there. New York-based Saks Global notified Mayor Spencer back when it was shutting down its Saks Fifth Avenue store in Frontenac, which is about 13 miles from Spencer's office in downtown St. Louis. And Panera did the same back last year when it closed its South Hanley Bakery facility. A Massachusetts-based HR executive with Panera sent the layoff notice not to Brentwood or the county executive, but to St. Louis City. It is a pattern that shows just how confusing the city-county divide still remains for businesses from outside of our area. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Since 2007, St. Charles County has rolled back taxes by an estimated $40 million. This week, the county council added to that by voting unanimously to zero out the county's portion of personal property tax for 2026.
After the vote wrapped, County Executive Steve Ellman pointed out that he and other St. Charles County electeds had been systematically chipping away at the county's tax rates for over a decade.
We've been lowering those property taxes every chance we get since I've been here.
And the only two people been doing it longer are Mr. Bressel and Mr. Schnorr. So I thank you, because you all started this long before I got here. We'll continue to do it.
Ellman says the county only receives about 3% of a resident's overall personal property tax payment anyway. Most of what we pay gets passed through to local school and fire districts.
Don't compare us to Florida or Texas or Nevada, says Governor Mike Kehoe. When looking at states that have no income tax, those states make up for it with tourism dollars. Instead, he says Missouri is comparing itself to Tennessee.
That state is growing in population. People are leaving these other states that have high regulations, high tax burdens, et cetera, not good work environments, and they're coming to Midwest states. And Tennessee has proven that has drawn many people there.
But Tennessee's tourism revenue is still more than 50% higher than Missouri's. One of Kehoe's major priorities is passage of Amendment 5, which would eliminate the income tax and replace it with higher and expanded sales taxes. The governor was a guest on KMOX's Chris and Amy show. Last night, Busch Stadium, scoreless game, 10th inning. After good pitching on the Cardinals' side from Dustin May, 5 innings. And an inning apiece for Justin Brule, Ryan Stanek, George Soriano, and Riley O'Brien. Luis Gastelum pitched in the 10th, and Pete Crow Armstrong did this.
Gastelum with the pitch. A swing, and there's a high fly ball, deep right field, and that is long gone. In the Cardinal bullpen, a 2-run homer for Pete Crow Armstrong. The Cubs lead 2-0 in the 10th. And the home run ball has been a problem for the rookie, Gastelum.
And I mean, PCA ate it up. He flipped his bat. He took his time around the bases. He pumped his arms up in the air, stopped at third, went home. Cubs fans absolutely loved it. Gastelum still pitching.
1 ball, 2 strikes. The pitch for Michael Busch. A swing and a ground ball to Weatherholt. Flip to second out. Win. Strong throw to first, double play. But the damage has been done.
Well, this game was not done. The Cardinals had other ideas. Nathan Church was the runner at second base to start the bottom of the 10th. The batter, Lars Nootbaar.
The pitch. Nootbaar hits that ball up the middle, and it's knocked down, and there's no play. Nico Horner at second base was able to get a glove on it, and the Cardinals have runners at first and third with nobody out.
And then J.J. Weatherholt, what a player he is. He drew a walk. That loaded the bases for Jordan Walker.
Now the pitch. Walker chops that one up the third base line. It is a fair ball. Bregman steps on third to get a force out, and the Cardinals get a run in. It's 2-1 Cubs.
And the batter is Ivan Herrera. It's the cut of the game, sponsored by The Diamond Shop. TheDiamondShop.net.
A double, a single tonight for Ivan Herrera. Herrera swings, and he drives that one. It goes to the gap in left center field. The ball gets down. It goes to the wall. We're tied. Walker around third. The throw to the plate. It's a Redbird winner! A Redbird winner! Light up the night in downtown St. Louis. The Cardinals came back with 3 in the 10th inning to beat the Cubs 3-2.
It feels great, being able to come 2-0 right there in the last inning. It's huge for the guys. We pitched really good today. We couldn't score some runs, but we did at the end. Shout out to the guys for a good game.
Take me through your approach at the plate during that at-bat.
Yeah, basically just trying to get the ball in there, stay out of the, get that 2 runs in. I got a good pitch to hit right in the middle. I execute really good.
He did, and Ivan Herrera set off a wild celebration on the field at Busch Stadium as the Cardinals walk it off 3-2. They beat the Cubs. They go for the series split this afternoon. It's a 1:15 start at Busch Stadium. Tickets available. Go see the Cardinals and the Cubs if you have time in downtown today. It's a 1:15 first pitch for Andre Palante. The Cubs will have Javier Assad, and they'll have plenty of their fans in the seats this afternoon. 12:20 for the pregame. We'll get on the air at noon with some extra coverage, a little Gas House Gang before we go to Cardinals pregame. I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
The radical left let crime and drugs pour into our nation, and they let biological men into girls' sports. But here in Missouri, if there's a problem, we fix it.
That's why Ann Wagner's fixing the mess the radical left made and delivering for us. Wagner voted to ban biological men from competing in girls' sports. And she voted to fund the police and provide more resources for Border Patrol agents, keeping our families, communities, and children safe. And Ann Wagner didn't stop there. In Congress, Wagner passed the largest working class tax cut in American history, kept big government out of our business, protected our way of life, and ensured our communities remain safe. That's why Ann Wagner's endorsed by the Missouri Farm Bureau and Missouri Fraternal Order of Police. Vote Ann Wagner for Congress on August 4th.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. You know, when you go to the Audiology Center, you'll see a doctor of audiology. And with us right now, Dr. Colleen Bosler. Dr. Bosler, what are some of the signs of hearing loss?
Well, it's a number of things. Sometimes loved ones notice a person asking others to repeat themselves, or the television is too loud. What people tend to notice first with hearing loss is the loss of clarity. They can hear people talking, but they cannot always understand what's being said. That's because the hearing loss can cause you to miss certain consonant sounds, and those consonant sounds give us the detail to the word. A hearing aid can help bring back those details and give you a sense of clarity that you're missing.
Dr. Colleen Bosler at the Audiology Center with 3 locations in the greater St. Louis area. Call for an appointment, 636-441-7470. Online, theaudiologycenterstl.com.
Celebrate the month of July with Zero Res and get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $129. Get your air ducts cleaned for $599 per unit. Book online at ZeroResSTL.com and take advantage of the savings. That's ZeroResSTL.com.
Debbie Monterey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Ooh, it's 7:21. Should be a pretty nice day today. We'll get you the details on that in just a moment. But first, let's check in with Roger Brand and see what's happening on your ride in from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got the big jam coming out of Lincoln County, Debbie. Southbound 61 jammed as you approach Moscow Mills down to the Big Creek between John Creech and Dietrich Roads. An overturned semi-crash from earlier this morning still out there, so alternate routes. Highway C looks great to the east over to Old Monroe on to 79, but 79, not a jam, but it is slow from about Dyer Road down to Hackman Road. And if you take Double M out of Moscow Mills, cut down to the southeast and get on to, I guess that's Scott, and then it ends up being Meddy Road. Meddy Road's jammed from about McCoy Creek down to Highway P, so it's certainly better than southbound 61. Don't forget, if you take J to the west, it is closed to the Big Creek. That's due to road work. Eastbound Highway 70 looking better through the Wright City Rest area, and they cleared that crash at Jennings Station, so you're back on the go there. Eastbound 64 just slow, 170 through Big Bend. The right lanes on North 55 a little busy coming through Mattis. Illinois drivers, eastbound 64 a little heavy, getting on to eastbound 70, 5570 there through Exchange in that construction area, and then east of 203 from that point through 111 you have a couple of roadwork slowdowns. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather forecast, Joe Lundberg says hazy sunshine today, mixing with clouds, high of 87, partly cloudy, low 71 tonight. Tomorrow, a couple of showers and a thunderstorm in the afternoon, a high of 84. It's 68 right now.
It is 7:22. It's one of the most heavily traveled spots in the city, Kings Highway, by that empty grassy hill near the Science Center. The corner was supposed to house a 300-unit apartment complex, but developer North Point walked away, citing high costs, and listed the land for sale for $2.8 million.
Because the site features a steep slope down to the interstate, economic development officials voted to offer automatic tax incentives to offset heavy engineering costs for a new buyer. LCRA official Paul Weatherford says the location is too important to sit empty.
There are no existing structures on either side at this point, but they've been vacant for a long time, which has led to deterioration of site conditions. These sites are an economic and social liability for the city. It's a very visible site that we would like to see get redeveloped.
There's been no interest yet from developers. Aldermen will get the final say on any incentives for a new buyer.
FedEx is permanently closing 2 St. Louis area facilities this fall, cutting more than 140 local jobs. In warn notices filed with the state, the company says its locations in Earth City and on South Hanley and Maplewood will shut down September 28th. The move is part of corporate restructuring. Affected workers are being offered transfer options or severance.
Illustrating how tricky our city-county borders can be for outside companies trying to do business here, FedEx seemed to mistakenly address its official county notice for the Maplewood facility instead to St. Louis City Mayor Kara Spencer.
Edwardsville-based Prairie Farms has closed 2 cheese-making plants in Wisconsin, laying off nearly 100 workers. One of those plants will be sold, but the Shullsburg Creamery, founded in 1934, will be shut down. Prairie Farms acquired that in 2020. Prairie Farms is one of the St. Louis region's largest privately held companies, with more than $4.5 billion in revenue reported in 2024, according to the Business Journal.
The sharp increase in drowning and boating-related deaths in Missouri is not limited to any one group.
Missouri State Highway Patrol Lieutenant Eric Brown says this year's fatalities span a wide range of ages.
When you look at the age range over the course of this year and the statistics that we have, we've had fatal victims anywhere from the age of 2 up to the age of 86 who've lost their lives to drowning. Anyone can fall victim to this.
Brown tells Missouri Net 30 people have died in drowning and boating-related incidents on Missouri waterways so far this year, double the 15 deaths reported during the same period last year. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
It is Shark Week. Kirsten Amy brought in Rich Collister, the curator of aquatics and life support systems at the St. Louis Aquarium, and asked how they determine which sharks will be living at the aquarium.
This is all part of the development process. You're working with architects, engineers, right? Tank size. So what's habitable for the animals that you are having in mind to put in there? And then you're going back towards the industry and what has worked and what are we really good at taking care of, right? And what do we want to challenge ourselves with? What do the guests want to see? What's the interaction? What's the intent of the exhibit? These are the things we're looking at.
Collister says a lot of the animals do very well in human care.
Also, have you ever dropped sunglasses or something down in the lake when you've been there out on a boat or otherwise? Well, there's someone who spends his day hunting for the treasures that you've dropped.
Booker DeRouche is also known as the Aquatic Cowboy. He has a one-of-a-kind business at Lake of the Ozarks and travels around the state searching for things that need to be found. Everything from sunken boats to diamond stud earrings.
Lots of rings, lots of jewelry.
He even found a glass eye.
Yep, they jumped off of a platform here at Lake of the Ozarks, and the eye popped out.
DeRouche says he's come up with a lot worse. Items he doesn't want to mention on the radio. He learned to dive at the lake when he was 12 and says it's become an addiction.
Just really, really fell in love with the life underwater, the peacefulness you get down there, just the solitude of it all. And I love treasure hunting, too.
If you ever need these specialized services, go to aquaticcowboy.com. Beth Coughlin, KMOX News.
Some never-before-offered items that belong to Abraham Lincoln could be yours for a price.
Heritage Auctions is overseeing the sale of the legal manuscripts, documents, and other items from a collection owned by the family of one of Lincoln's former law partners. They come from the Springfield Law Office where Lincoln once worked. Among the items getting the highest bids are a wood desk and a table. The auction house touts the collection as bringing bidders inside Lincoln's formative years as a working lawyer, strategist, and rising statesman.
It's 7:27. Time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Well, tomorrow's the last day that you can enter the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. If you need a new garage door, here you go. The $5,000 sweepstakes is back with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. A winner is chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. The deadline to enter is tomorrow, July 31st. So get in there. Win the $5,000 sweepstakes. All you have to do is enter at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. Can't win if you don't enter. And all you have to do is put in your name and a little information, and off you go. It's overheaddoorsstlouis.com. You know all about them. The ones with the red ribbon, the genuine, the original, the ones that have been here since 1926. When it comes to garage doors, they are the company. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. The genuine, the original.
Bill, you're an old politician.
Yup, sure am.
So you know the old-timers warned that someone trying to sell you a pig in a poke was a con man.
Well, sure.
Well, no offense, Tom, but your Politicians Amendment 5 is a pig in a poke, allowing politicians to raise our taxes without a vote of the people. And the Politicians Amendment 4 takes away our power to do anything about it. Well, let's look at what's really inside 4 and 5.
Oh, don't do that.
5 hits hardest seniors and those struggling financially with new taxes on services like doctor visits, in-home care, and rent. Sales taxes could more than triple. For up to 80% of Missourians, it's a tax hike. And Amendment 4 ends majority rule, effectively ending our power to stop corrupt and out-of-control politicians.
Slick plan, huh?
No, Tom. 4 and 5 are schemes that hurt citizens and transfer our power and our money to politicians and lobbyists. That's why I'm voting no on the Politicians Amendments 4 and 5. Paid for by Missourians for Fair Government.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. And now we're customizing this rush hour ad to keep you calm, which could help your driving. And science says therapy is great for a healthy mindset. So enjoy this 14-second session on us. I think you've done everything right and absolutely nothing wrong. In fact, anything that hasn't gone your way could probably be blamed on your father not being emotionally available because his father wasn't emotionally available, and so on. And now that you're calm and healing, you're probably driving better too.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Hey guys, this is Kevin Wheeler. If you're looking for a little kick in the pants when it comes to dropping a little weight, getting better shape, getting more into the gym, think about Burn Balance Complex, which you can pick up at Supplement Superstores. I've been using it since it came out. It's fantastic. You notice right away the difference. Look, we all have busy schedules. I do and you do. You know, we all have problems sometimes with controlling our eating patterns and staying on a plan. Well, Burn Balance Complex makes that so much easier. It's not magic, but it definitely helps make it easier. It is a complete metabolism system. It's not just a fat burner. So what you're talking about is a natural weight loss option. So if you're a person that doesn't want to go get a prescription, you're not into injections, this is a great choice for you. In addition to the metabolism boost, you get to lower stress and cortisol levels, get better sleep. It can help control appetite and cravings, all day focused energy with no jitters, no crash at the end of the day. If you want the help, and look, we all need it. I know I do. Go to Supplement Superstores, tell them your story, mention Kevin Wheeler, and they'll knock 30% off the Burn Balance Complex. You can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
It is 7:31. We've got sunshine and 68 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, there's still no change out to the west of us, Tom and Debbie, with this tractor-trailer crash from earlier this morning, southbound 61 between John Creech and Dietrich Roads at the Big Creek. Lane restrictions, a solid jam back to Highway C in Moscow Mills. C doesn't look bad, but southbound 79 starting to back up right there at C and Old Monroe across the river. And then there's slow stuff on Dyer down to Hackman Roads if you're going to go that way. Double M didn't look as bad till you get closer into Flint Hill, like across from McCoy Creek. It's jammed. That's a good maybe half, 3/4 of a mile back up along that route. If you're on eastbound 64, it's backed up McKnight to Big Bend. South 170 backs up at the Parkway. Westbound 64, Hampton through Bellevue's busy. North 270, a little volume between Big Bend and Doherty Ferry. Southbound around Ladue, you have a little slow traffic there. And then Illinois drivers, we have a crash now. Westbound 270 just west of the Canal Bridge, lane block there. Traffic's jamming at about Route 203, and westbound 64 west of 3rd Street to the Poplar. We're seeing backups. Next update is 740 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
All right, today, hazy sunshine mixing with clouds. 87 will be the high. Tomorrow, the high 84, but we could see in the afternoon or evening tomorrow some thunderstorms moving through with hail and damaging winds. It's sunny now and 68 degrees.
St. Louis City is hearing an appeal of a conditional use permit to turn the warehouse behind the Armory into a data center. The appeal, filed by the Missouri Coalition for the Environment, argued the data center would harm the environment and its neighbors, along with raising energy rates.
Robert Golterman, the attorney representing the developer, says the community benefit agreement offers significant benefits to the city.
Including among those commitments is a major financial obligation in the tens of millions of dollars to advance several key city initiatives for the years to come.
The meeting and public comment went into the late evening hours before the board approved the appeal, 5-0.
A Highway Patrol SWAT officer walked away uninjured after a bullet struck his ballistic helmet during a fatal standoff in Lincoln County. State troopers say deputies initially responded yesterday to a domestic disturbance on Pinewood Drive where 69-year-old John Haynes barricaded himself inside a home. When Haynes later came out and pointed a gun at officers, a shootout erupted, killing Haynes. The Highway Patrol's Division of Drug and Crime Control is investigating.
A Florissant woman admits to stealing $170,000 in Social Security benefits from a dead relative. 45-year-old Lanika Holmes started taking the funds after a relative died in May 2017, continued collecting that money until April 2025. She is set to be sentenced in October and is facing 10 years in prison and a fine of up to $250,000.
A resident-led traffic safety town hall will take place tonight in Overland. The CEO of Young Voices with Action, a local nonprofit, is hosting a public forum for residents to express their road safety concerns and ideas. The meeting starts at 6:30 at the Parkview Library.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. It's 7:34, and we'll take a look at your Money Minute coming up.
Oh, hey, Sarah. Did you hear my daughter Katie got Camper of the Week?
That's a big deal. We got a big deal, too. Right, Mom? Honey, shh.
What's that?
Okay, that Hyundai Santa Fe, I only paid...
Nice.
Deal's so right, it almost feels wrong. The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Get 0% APR for 60 months, plus 0 payments for 90 days, or 1.9% APR for 72 months on the Hyundai Tucson, Santa Fe, or Santa Fe Hybrid during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Hurry, offer ends August 3rd. Call 562-314-4603 for details.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hard-working partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
It's 7:36, and your Money Minute on KMOX is sponsored by Busey Bank.
This is the Bloomberg Money Minute. The company behind Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram is still struggling to turn things around. Stellantis posted weaker than expected profit. Fierce competition from lower-priced Chinese automakers is squeezing its business in Europe. While sales improved in North America, a number of product recalls have weighed on results. Stock futures are looking at gains this morning after yesterday's heavy losses. The Dow dropped more than 1,000 points to finish the day. The Federal Reserve's decision to leave interest rates unchanged is keeping traders guessing as to how the central bank will tackle persistent inflation. And the reluctance to spend is no match for fruity refreshers and Chipotle honey chicken burritos. Starbucks and Chipotle both raised their financial outlooks for the year after stronger than expected quarters. Both chains have been getting a boost by trendy new menu items. It shows that diners are still willing to open their wallets to eat out if prices and flavors are right. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
This is the run my own business dream. This is the college is paid for dream. This is the retire early dream. This is Busey, where your dreams and possibilities become moments. Through trusted guidance and expertise, through lifelong relationships. Because we're here to help you achieve the life you've always envisioned. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
I'm Bill Eigel. I'm a no on data centers. Last year, when a new hyperscale data center was up for a vote in St. Charles City, I'm the only candidate for county executive who stood with you in opposition. Meanwhile, Steve Ellman was writing op-eds in support of data centers. In fact, he spent $400,000 of your taxpayer money to identify 6 locations just for data centers in St. Charles County. I'm Bill Eigel, and if you don't want data centers in our county, then I'm asking for your vote on August 4th.
Paid for by Eigel from Missouri. Lisa Borchers, treasurer.
When my wife and I got married after both graduating law school, we didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. Ultima had to give me her gas card just to drive home. We never could have imagined that one day we would have the largest injury firm in the world and $25 billion in money collected and counting. As good Catholics, we had 4 children fast. They all work in the firm today. Our family protecting yours. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. But our greatest gift was years away, grandchildren. Today we have 6 and counting. It's the greatest joy that we have ever experienced. I think about them all day long. Our family promises to protect your family should you need us. Call us. It's easy. Visit forthepeople.com and make sure you hug your grandchildren. God's final gift to us. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Registered lobbyist Mike Deering is not the kind of guy you want in the state Senate.
Did you say he was a registered lobbyist?
Sure did. When conservatives like Tricia Burns tried to pass a bill to take back the 300,000 acres in Missouri allowed to be controlled by China, lobbyist Mike Deering testified against it. When conservatives like Tricia Burns fought alongside Missouri cattlemen to require foreign beef to be labeled, lobbyist Mike Deering testified against that too. While conservatives like Tricia Burns are fighting to protect your farmland from being paved over by data centers, lobbyist Mike Deering described Google's Montgomery County hyperscale data center as a
very positive thing.
Deering also endorsed liberal Democrat Chris Koster for governor and openly mocked President Trump. Registered lobbyist Mike Deering, anti-Trump, pro-Democrat, bought out by foreign ag interest, and in love with data centers. Take down data center Deering on August 4th. Vote America First conservative warrior Tricia Burns for state senate.
Paid for by Mo Constitutional Conservative Council PAC, Scott Lady Treasurer.
This is the Gas House Gang from KMOX.
Bernie Nicholas and the Gas House Gang, today at noon on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
Not today, though. We have a day game, 1:15 start, 12:20 pregame. Chris Ranji and I will lead you up to my network pregame. Right now, Roger Brand, Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, still no change for Moscow Mills folks coming down 61, Tom. Still a solid jam from there. Highway C down to the Big Creek between John Creech and Dietrich Roads. That overturned semi that the driver apparently left the scene after it happened. Overturned a tractor trailer loaded with produce. So they're still offloading it and dealing with the remnants of that crash. Southbound 79, there's some slow pockets from Old Monroe, but primarily Dyer to Hackman is the busiest part of that run. Southbound Meddy Road coming across McCoy Creek to Highway P is the busiest part of that alternate route, by the way. North 270, Tesson Ferry to Sappington's backed up. Big Bend up through Manchester slow. Eastbound 44 between Bowles and Miraz a little busy. Eastbound 64, stop and go pockets east of Lindbergh to Big Bend. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley. South 170 delays at the Parkway. Eastbound 44, we have a crash just before Kings Highway. It's backed up approaching Hampton. And on the Illinois side, we have a crash westbound 270 west of the Canal Bridge. It's jammed back past 203. 64 Ball to the Poplar, westbound's heavy, eastbound 5570 delays, 203 to east of 111. Next update is 750 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
7:42, and here is our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg.
Debbie, it's going to be a nice day today. Sunshine. We'll start to mix with more and more clouds this afternoon, but overall, a pretty nice day. Our high gets to about 87. And partly cloudy tonight, low 71. Tomorrow, though, not as nice. A lot more clouds around. And as the day wears on, the risk for showers and thunderstorms will increase, particularly for the afternoon into tomorrow night. And there's a risk for severe weather that includes hail and damaging winds. And, of course, flash flooding. Our high tomorrow about 84. Will still be a couple of showers and maybe a thunderstorm into Saturday, mostly cloudy and kind of muggy with temperatures staying in the 70s. It'll remain humid Sunday, but clouds should break for some sunshine, the high 81. A partly sunny day on Monday, just a chance for a shower, the high about 85. Right now, 71 at St. Peter's and in Florissant, 72 with sunshine downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Thank you, Joe. It's 7:43. The exciting comeback for the Cardinals in 2 minutes. Shoppers might feel the pinch still as they survey grocery store shelves, but Fed policymakers had different economic figures in hand when they chose not to raise borrowing costs by leaving interest rates unchanged. Stifel Director of Investments Eric Robert explains the key factors behind the committee's pause.
We saw a deceleration in both headline consumer price inflation as well as producer price inflation in the month of June. Those numbers came out a couple weeks ago. That did weigh on the Fed's decision to hold rates steady right now.
Despite that recent relief in those economic reports, 3 regional Fed presidents still voted against the interest rate pause. They argued that overall prices have been stuck well above the central bank's 2% target for over 5 years.
The man convicted of fatally stabbing 4 University of Idaho students now says he was convinced to falsely confess and is claiming his innocence. Bryan Kohberger is currently serving 4 life sentences. Total Information AM asked KMOX legal analyst Brad Young how Kohberger could reverse a plea.
This is actually something that's fairly common and alleging ineffective counsel. But listen, if you watch that, the judge ask him, it's called a colloquy, ask him lots of questions about whether he actually did it. And Bryan Kohberger answered that he did. This is going to be next to impossible for him to walk back his guilty plea.
Kohberger was a criminology student who apparently had no previous relationship with the victims, and investigators never identified a motive.
Ins and Outs, sponsored by Innsbrook Resort, where every day is the weekend. Let's look at the players who contributed last night. All of them, I would say, just about, are mentioned in trade rumors. And could be, I will accentuate the word could, emphasize it, on the trade block. We'll take a look first at Dustin May.
Burleson, who holds against Seiya Suzuki. The pitch is strike 3 called on the outside corner. Bregman protests the call, but he doesn't challenge it.
Dustin May cooking last night at Busch Stadium.
May with his 30th pitch in the game on 0-2. A swing and a miss. Ramirez strikes out.
That was in the second inning. In the fourth,
May rocks and fires, and that pitch is swung on and missed. Got him with a changeup. Third strikeout for May.
Scoreless into the fifth.
May with the pitch. A swing, and there's a fly ball hit well toward right field. Backing up on it. Walker on the track. He makes the catch in front of the Cardinal bullpen.
5 scoreless innings for May, who received hugs throughout his dugout return after those 5 innings. In the 6th inning, Justin Brule pitched a scoreless inning, and then in the 7th, Ryan Stanek's name has come up in trade speculation.
Stanek facing the veteran Dansby Swanson. Here comes the pitch, a swing and a miss. He struck him out with a fastball. 99 at the top of the zone. He strikes out Swanson and sends us to the 7th inning stretch.
A scoreless game. In the 8th, George Soriano worked the frame, and here comes Riley O'Brien in the 9th. His name has popped up in trade talks.
The 2-2 pitch. Swanson swings and lifts the ball in the air, short right field. Here comes Walker on the run. He has it, leaving 2 on. And the Cardinals in the bottom of the 9th need a run to win it.
They can't get it, though, and we head to the 10th. A runner at second to start the inning for Pete Crow Armstrong.
Gastelum with the pitch. A swing, and there's a high fly ball, deep right field, and that is long gone. In the Cardinal bullpen, a 2-run homer for Pete Crow Armstrong. The Cubs lead 2-0 in the 10th. And the home run ball has been a problem for the rookie, Gastelum.
And I mean, Pete Crow Armstrong made the most of his trip around the bases. He flipped the bat. He pumped his arms in the air. He took his time around third base, and Cubs fans ate it up. But that celebration would be short-lived. In the bottom of the 10th, Nathan Church starts the inning at second base. This was after Gastelum got out of the top of the 10th with a double play ball. And Lars Nootbaar, his name also in trade talks at the plate as a pinch hitter.
The pitch. Nootbaar hits that ball up the middle, and it's knocked down, and there's no play. Nico Horner at second base was able to get a glove on it, and the Cardinals have runners at first and third with nobody out.
J.J. Weatherholt drew a walk, loading the bases for Jordan Walker.
Now the pitch. Walker chops that one up the third base line. It is a fair ball. Bregman steps on third to get a force out, and the Cardinals get a run in. It's 2-1 Cubs.
Put the ball in play, get a run across. It's 2-1. And here comes Ivan Herrera. Now, with the Cardinals trade Herrera, I'm not so sure. You'd have to get the right deal for him. There will be phone calls, I would imagine, for Herrera. He's at the plate. It's a 2-1 Cubs lead. And the call on KMOX.
A double, a single tonight for Ivan Herrera. Herrera swings, and he drives that one. It goes to the gap in left center field. The ball gets down. It goes to the wall. We're tied. Walker around third. The throw to the plate. It's a Redbird winner! A Redbird winner! Light up the night in downtown St. Louis. The Cardinals came back with 3 in the 10th inning to beat the Cubs. 3-2.
What a win. That's one of the best of the year. Cardinals win it 3-2 in 10 over the Cubs. They go for the series split this afternoon. It's a 1:15 first pitch for Andre Palante. We'll have the pregame for you at noon with a 12:20 network pregame right here on KMOX. Innsbrook Resort. It's located just an hour from downtown St. Louis, and for most parts of St. Louis, it is a very easy drive to get to Warren County and unlock this incredible vacation that really you deserve. You deserve a vacation, not only a vacation in general, but one that's right here in the St. Louis area. I mean, you can get over there. You could even get home if you forgot something and head on back to the beautiful Innsbrook Resort, which is located right off the Wright City exit off I-70, 7,500 acres. You know how big that is? That's about as big as some of the biggest national parks we have in this country. 100 lakes throughout the property and homes all through and tucked into the woods with little walkways down to the lake. Man, it's just perfect living. It really is. Great fishing, golf, swimming, vacation time. Family's going to love it. Innsbrook-resort.com to book your spot. Innsbrook-resort.com just to take a little look around. Now, let's take a little look around our parlay of the day, sponsored by Circa Sports. Sports betting the way it should be. We've talked the last few days about, college football and the NFL. Let's circle back to baseball after what we saw last night and try to figure out who are the favorites to win the World Series. Well, right now, the favorite to win the World Series is, yep, you guessed it, the Dodgers. The Dodgers are plus 195. Boy, that's low. The Yankees at plus 580. I know you're not going to like to hear this, but I think the Brewers at plus 800 is a good play. I think the Brewers might be the best team in baseball. If I were to pick a team right now that's going to win the World Series, I would say Milwaukee at plus 800. And then you kind of go down the list a little bit further. It's a little tougher to count on some of these teams. Maybe the Phillies at plus 1,400 would be a good value for you. Parlay of the day sponsored by Circa Sports. Sports betting the way it should be.
America is turning 250 this year, and Circa Sports is celebrating by offering all users in Missouri $250. For everyone in Missouri, all you have to do is deposit $250 on your Circa Sports app, then play through that deposit. Once you do, Circa Sports will reward you with $250 right in your account. This is available for everyone in Missouri, new and existing users. Celebrate 250 years and find out more at circasports.com today. Must be 21 or older and in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
St. Louis, are you ready to rock? AC/DC is bringing the Power Up Tour to the Dome at America Center Tuesday, September 8th. Hear legendary hits like Back in Black, Thunderstruck, and Highway to Hell, performed live by one of the greatest rock bands of all time. Don't wait on tickets. They're still available at Ticketmaster.com. AC/DC, the Power Up Tour, Tuesday, September 8th. For more information, go to KMOX.com/events.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX. Your morning news and information. Total Information AM.
7:52 and time for Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, good news, Debbie. It looks like they cleared the tractor-trailer crash on southbound 61 north of Dietrich Road. Traffic still jammed from Moscow Mills about midway down to Highway U, so it's getting better pretty quickly. Southbound 79 just south of the Quiver River all the way down to Hackman's pretty backed up, so you may just want to stick with 61 if you were thinking about detouring. If you're on eastbound 64, it's slow. Clarkson at Timberlake. Spady to Lindbergh. There's slow pockets into Big Bend. Westbound 64 Science Center to Hanley's heavy. South 170 delays at the Parkway. North 270, the bulk of the volume is 44 up through Manchester. 44 west of Bowles through Moraz is busy, and we're jammed from Jameson up to Kings Highway. Those right lanes blocked by that crash there. Still the crash westbound 270 west of the Canal Bridge. It's jammed west of 111. Westbound 64, 25th Street to the 70, split and 3rd Street to the Poplar. You're on the brakes. Next update at 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Hazy sunshine mixing with clouds today. High 87. Perfect weather for a ball game. Partly cloudy, low 71 tonight. Tomorrow, some showers in the afternoon and a high of 84. Currently, it's 69 downtown.
It is 7:53. Will families suing Johnson & Johnson over baby powder cancer concerns sign off on a new settlement offer from the company? Johnson & Johnson has agreed to pay $5.5 billion to tie up remaining lawsuits that claim its talc products caused ovarian cancer.
Because even though $5.5 billion sounds like a lot of money, and it certainly is, when you divide that by tens of thousands of people, that number goes lower. And then when you take out the attorney's fees, that money goes lower even still.
KMOX legal analyst Brad Young at Harris, Young & Kaiser says under this proposal, about 95% of roughly 76,000 plaintiffs would have to approve it.
Scouting America is updating their STEM programming to keep Cub Scouts up to date with modern technology. Cub Scouts can now earn AI and cybersecurity badges after completing hands-on programming, including AI communication and operation skills.
These just got started last September, October. We were working with organizations like RGA, Maryville University, Scott Air Force Base that are big in these areas. And so it's going to be really fun to bring our scouts to those locations.
That's Tom Croning, Director of Program Development at Greater St. Louis Area Council Scouting, who says this is one way Scouting America is trying to keep their programming relevant.
While it was very far out of town at the time, people were living in what's now Webster Grove. Steve Schoenbeck has written a book about the city's history. He says Minister Artemus Bullard established the Rock Hill Presbyterian Church in the 1840s.
He also had the idea that he wanted to establish a boys' school, and he called it the Webster College for Boys. He named it Webster because he had come from the New England area where Daniel Webster was a very prominent senator, and to honor Daniel Webster, he called his school the Webster Academy. When the train reached this point, they needed a name for a railroad stop, and they named it the Webster Station.
Schoenbeck says around 1853, those tracks crossed what's now North Gore and a business district developed with residential soon following. Schoenbeck's new book is Webster Grove's A Walk Through History, and hear more this morning at 8:40.
The 2-pound kitten that was rescued from an overpass in one of the City SC parking garages now has a city-themed name. That 2-month-old kitten, rescued by city firefighters and city animal control officers on Tuesday. The female kitten is now named City Kitty, and in case you're wondering, is available to foster at KRSTL.
It's 7:56.
Now the news at 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
I was at the ball game last night with an ice-cold Budweiser in my hand. That's always good, sitting in the seats and enjoying baseball on a beautiful night in St. Louis with the St. Louis Lager, the St. Louis Lager, the one that's captured America, the one that the Clydesdales represent, the one that is right here, Budweiser. Since 1876, 150 years, as old as Major League Baseball itself. Budweiser is crisp, clean, and refreshing. It is delicious, and it is all over the area. You can pick it up at your grocery store, at your corner market, at the ball game. There's no doubt about it that Budweiser is the king of beers. This summer, they celebrated with America. $2.50 with those patriotic cans that you can still get. Looks great right on the shelves. Going to look even better in your refrigerator and look best right there in your hand. An ice-cold Budweiser. Budweiser's the king of beers for the last 150 years. This Bud's for you.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Congress doesn't need more politicians. For nearly 30 years, Joan Von Dross dedicated her life to helping students learn, grow, and succeed. Now she's running for Congress to fight for lower health care costs, stronger public schools, and a more affordable future for Missouri families. Teachers solve problems. Politicians play politics.
I'm Joan Von Dross, Democrat from Missouri CD2, and I approve this message. Vote for me on August 4th.
Paid for by Von Dross for Congress.
Here is Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, southbound 61 is pretty much back on track now. Now you're just seeing some slow traffic, Wentzville Parkway down to the eastbound 70 ramp. Southbound 79 now is the busy one. From the Quiver River down through Hackman Road, there's heavy traffic all the way through, so you obviously stick with 61 southbound now. Eastbound 64, east of Lindbergh into Big Bend's heavy. Westbound 64 approaching Hampton to Hanley slow. South 170 delays at the Parkway. Northbound 270 slow past Gravel, and then north of 44 to Manchester. Eastbound 44, we still have a jam. Jamison up to Kings Highway. They were clearing a crash that was in the right lanes there. Still have this crash westbound 270 just west of the Canal Bridge. Traffic is jammed between 111 and 203 for that one. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood, the voice of St. Louis.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Attacks from both sides in the Middle East with the U.S. striking Iranian targets and Iran hitting back. ABC News senior political correspondent Rachel Scott is at the White House.
The U.S. launching retaliatory strikes against Iran. The Pentagon calling it a powerful response after the regime targeted American forces in the region.
We're going to be hitting them very hard because it's our turn to hit them. They know it's coming. They're asking us not to do it.
The war only escalating across the Middle East. 2 ships, one owned by the U.S., were hit in an apparent drone strike off Egypt's coast.
Jordan this morning says it shot down 5 Iranian missiles. One apparently got through in Kuwait, hitting a building, killing 1 person. Oil prices have dropped a bit. Brent crude now trading at just under $90 a barrel. Wall Street is looking to rebound after yesterday's huge sell-off following the Dow's worst day in more than a year. Stock futures are pointing to a higher opening this morning at the bell. This is ABC News. With just weeks until the fall semester begins, hundreds of prospective students at Howard University remain in limbo. The school says it unenrolled more than 500 freshmen who missed tuition and financial aid deadlines last week. Many of the incoming students say they never received notifications of the critical July 10th deadline until it had already passed. However, interim Howard president Dr. Wayne Frederick says,
I can imagine the enormous pressure it puts everyone under. The reality is, though, over 2,200 students and families did exactly what we expected them to do and followed the policies and procedures and met the deadline, which means that I feel that our communication was pretty comprehensive.
A public library in coastal Australia has had a book returned 150 years late. A man recently found it during home renovations. If they had charged the fine, which they won't, it would have been more than $19,000. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
At 8:02, we have sunny skies, 72 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Thursday, July 30th. I'm Megan Lynch. St. Charles County taxpayers will collectively see a $4 million break on their bills this year after the county council voted to eliminate its personal property tax collections. While residents will still pay personal property taxes for schools and fire districts, the county government's portion is dropping to zero. St. Charles County Collector of Revenue, Michelle McBride.
Setting the personal property rate to zero and effectively eliminating the county levied personal property tax this year brings meaningful relief to taxpayers at a time when many are feeling pressures of rising costs elsewhere.
St. Charles County had already frozen its personal property tax revenue since 2022, but this vote officially zeroes it out. The change will automatically be reflected on bills mailed out this fall. St. Louis City hearing an appeal regarding a conditional use permit to turn the warehouse behind the Armory into a data center. The appeal filed by the Missouri Coalition for the Environment argued the data center would harm the environment and its neighbors along with raising energy rates. Robert Golterman, the attorney representing the developer, says the community benefit agreement offers significant benefits to the city.
Including among those commitments is a major financial obligation in the tens of millions of dollars to advance several key city initiatives for the years to come.
The meeting and public comment went into the late evening hours before the board approved the appeal on a ruling of 5-0. St. Louis City Police searching for individuals they say ambushed them and ATF agents Tuesday night.
Within 3 minutes and 46 seconds, shots were fired at both police officers and federal agents.
St. Louis City Police spokesman Mitch McCoy sharing how long it took after officers pulled over an individual at Thekla and Oriole in Walnut Park East before they and bystanders were being shot at. McCoy says the subject of the traffic stop fled in their vehicle. The shots were fired by the occupants of a separate vehicle, a gray Ford Fusion, which police recovered after a pursuit when it was abandoned at the 1500 block of Cells. McCoy says they are investigating this as an ambush of their officers.
We do not know if there is a direct connection between the traffic stop and the vehicle that fired on our police officers.
McCoy says law enforcement are asking for anyone in the area who might have surveillance or other footage of the Ford Fusion before or after the shooting to contact Crime Stoppers. He adds nobody was injured in the shooting. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
3 people are injured following an overnight stabbing. It happened at an abandoned school at 15th Street and Carr in North St. Louis. KMOV reports police found 3 men with stab wounds at the scene, 1 victim in critical condition, the other 2 stable. Multiple people were detained at the scene. The Missouri Secretary of State, Attorney General, and a state senator from western Missouri have all threatened a public library in Columbia, Missouri, after it hosted a story hour to welcome LGBTQ families. Let's get more from Jade Aubrey.
Boone County Public Library hosted a Rainbow Story Hour to read 2 LGBTQ-friendly books, Rainbow Dinosaur and Big Wig for Toddlers. It was attended by about 120 residents. The day before the event, Secretary of State Denny Hoskins sent a public letter to the library saying he would cut any public funding if they hosted the story time.
If it's not illegal, then we're going to be working with the legislature. I've had several legislators that have called out to me and said, hey, if this is not illegal, we want to file bills to ensure this is illegal in the future, to make sure that we aren't funding these type of events through taxpayer dollars.
Boone County Public Library Director Robin Westfall says Hoskins did not speak to her about the books or the event, which were asked for by the library's patrons.
It feels like that, being part of that community is being presented as being inherently wrong. It is not illegal to be gay.
Jade Aubrey, KMOX News.
If you want proof how confusing St. Louis geography is to national corporations, take a look at St. Louis City Hall's inbox. KMOX's Michael Calhoun explains.
Under state law, major employers have to notify local leaders before closing facilities, but out-of-state legal departments often find they send those warn notices to the wrong chief executive in our area. Official state filings reviewed by KMOX show that Mayor Kara Spencer repeatedly receives closure notices for businesses that are well outside of the city limits, including one just yesterday for FedEx's facility that is actually in Maplewood. The city mayor was also notified back when Saks Fifth Avenue was closing its store at Plaza Frontenac, which is far from the city. And even Panera got confused last year when it was closing its bakery facility on South Hanley in Brentwood, giving Spencer the heads up about that. Because parts of St. Louis County use St. Louis, Missouri in their postal addresses, corporate lawyers from outside of the region seem to consistently mistake county suburbs for the city itself. And that means that city mayors and county government are not getting those layoff notices. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
FedEx permanently closing 2 St. Louis area facilities this fall, cutting more than 140 local jobs in more notices filed with the state. The company says its locations in Earth City and on South Hanley and Maplewood will shut down September 28th. The move is part of corporate restructuring, affected workers being offered transfer options or severance. Coming up on Total Information AM, there are a couple of big ballot measures that Missouri voters are going to be deciding on August August 4th, next Tuesday, during the primary election. What this year's polling tells us about the future of those two, we'll talk about that with Chris Duncan, political science professor at St. Louis University, coming up.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Can you believe politicians nearly doubled state spending since 2019? Yeah, that's twice the rate of inflation.
What do we get for all that extra spending? Nothing.
Yeah, and get this, over 200 loopholes are buried in our tax code, written by lobbyists for wealthy corporations.
Our tax code is rigged against us.
We get taxed on our paycheck, our home, everything we buy.
I guess somebody's got to pay for all that spending.
That's why we need Amendment 5. It puts politicians on a leash.
Forces them to cut taxes and control spending, whether they like it or not.
Amendment 5 closes the loopholes, eliminates income taxes, cuts property taxes, and gives $3,000 a year to average working families.
We decide, not the politicians.
Amendment 5 is the biggest tax cut in Missouri history.
I'm voting yes on Amendment 5. Paid for by Missouri Promise PAC, Mark Ellinger, Treasurer.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Now the news at 1 the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
8:10. Let's check the roads for you on this Thursday morning. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, right now looking at this crash that's still out there, right lane still blocked, eastbound 44 just before Kings Highway. Eastbound 44 is a little slow coming through Laclede Station, Shrewsbury, and then it jams approaching Jameson up to that Kings Highway crash. Northbound 270, a slowdown north of Gravois, then Doherty Ferry up to Manchester, about the busiest parts of that run. Southbound 61, seeing slow traffic now from Highway W all the way down through P, and it backs up before you get to Wentzville Parkway down onto eastbound 70. Again, volume unwinding from that earlier semi-crash that had restrictions out there for hours. Southbound 79, Dyer Road down to Hackman, still looks pretty backed up. If you're coming up from the south, northbound 55 looks good on the Illinois side. Still have this crash. Well, actually, it looks like they cleared it now. It was westbound 270, it's west of the Canal Bridge. They're reporting another incident near Route 3, and it is jammed at 111 to Route 3, and then it opens up. Westbound 64, slow pockets, ball across the Poplar. Eastbound 5570, slow east of 203, passing 111. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Hazy sunshine mixing with some cloud later today. Our afternoon high 87. Partly cloudy tonight, low 71. Plenty of clouds tomorrow. Look for some showers and thunderstorms mainly later in the day and at night. Those thunderstorms can be severe with hail, damaging wind gusts, and flooding downpours. The high tomorrow 84. Saturday remaining mostly cloudy and humid with a couple of showers and perhaps a thunderstorm. It'll become breezy. The high just 76. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now we have sunny skies, 71 degrees in Florissant and St. Peter's, 72 degrees downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM on 104.1 FM KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Next week, Missouri voters will vote yes or no on two important ballot measures. One would make it harder to pass citizen-led constitutional changes. The other would phase out the individual income tax in favor of sales taxes. St. Louis University had tested those ideas with likely voters in its SLU YouGov polling earlier this year. And joining me now on the Quiver River Electric Guest Line is SLU political science professor Chris Duncan. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Megan. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you for joining me to talk about this. I know the polling was a while ago, so some voters could have changed their mind. But let's talk about some of the trends that you saw, focusing first on Amendment 5 and income taxes, because I felt like there were some interesting nuances in the SLU YouGov polling. First, how did likely voters weigh in on the sales versus income tax option earlier this year?
Yeah, so earlier this year, about 52% or so were in favor of phasing out the income tax and moving in the direction of a sales tax. About 39% sort of said they were interested in not doing that. But one of the things to keep in mind with the poll, not to get real technical, but that was a poll done in February, so this was well before the recent bombardment of television ads and things being in your mailbox every day. And it also was a poll that really was looking at general election voters rather than people who tend to vote in primaries. So in some ways, the numbers are going to be a little bit skewed at this time.
I think that's an interesting point you make, that this is a primary, and there had been a challenge to putting these ballot issues on the August ballot. Explain for people who maybe haven't thought about it why that makes a difference.
Because the voters that tend to turn out for primaries are a little bit more intense than your sort of general election voters, right? These are people who are paying pretty close attention usually. These are people who vote in most elections. And so you're going to have a very different kind of turnout, right? So if you start to see turnout getting up near 50, 60% in the general election, in the primary election, you're going to be lucky to hit 10 or 15%. And so you've got a really different group of people.
So when we look at the sales tax options, this is where I think it gets interesting. If, just a slight majority of these likely voters might have said, yes to Amendment 5, but when it comes to the options that might be presented for sales taxes, do any of them seem to have majority support?
Yeah, so that's the really interesting part. I mean, use a little metaphor, right? It's sort of like they want to get credit for winning the war and then fight all of the battles, right? If you go to the Missouri.gov pages, you'll look at a list right now of certain sales tax exemptions. It's 22 pages long, right? So what will happen on some level is if for some reason this was to pass, all of the real fights are down the road, right? Everybody will be lining up attempting to get exemptions. You've got lots of support in general for phasing out the income tax, but when you start to get down to like particular services, accounting services, services in automobile places, real estate, right? You start to see a real fall off, and support for those gets way, way down into the 30% range. And so each individual question about what the sales tax will be applied to is going to be its own kind of battle that goes forward. About 81% of the people that were polled back then said that they wanted food to be exempt. Right? And that's a big part of most people's weekly budgets. And so you start to think about all of the exemptions that are going to take place. That's where the real fight will be eventually if this passes.
Are there any geographic divisions that stood out when you did the polling of these likely voters on Amendment 5?
I mean, there were some geographic differences, but I wouldn't say that they were real significant. You tend to, of course, have the, blue areas in Kansas City and the blue areas in St. Louis, and then you tend to have, of course, a much redder profile for Missouri when you get outside of those urban areas. And so there are some differences between the urban and the rural folks over these things, but for the most part, right, it's pretty mixed still.
Let's turn to Amendment 4, citizen-led petitions. Will you describe for our listeners what Amendment 4 would do?
Yeah, so basically Amendment 4 would take what has been a pretty robust citizen-led initiative process in the state of Missouri, and it would take us from a world in which a majority of voters throughout the state were able to pass new initiatives, and it would require that you have majorities in each of the 8 districts in the state. This would give effectively, the opportunity for one district to trump the will of the 7 other districts in some, sort of very skewed kind of race. I understand the logic behind it, but it does really take a pretty strong democratic process, and it pushes it to a place where it would be very hard then for citizen initiatives probably to get passed unless they had just overwhelming support.
Yeah, and you have to wonder on things that recently have passed through that process, recreational marijuana, reproductive rights, sports betting. What would have happened with those?
Right. And my guess is when you get out, again, to some of the more rural areas, the places that are, very, very Republican areas, but also that have a really strong sort of religious bents to the way that they tend to vote, that some of those things like gambling and marijuana use probably would have had a much, much harder time getting passed if you had this in place.
So when we look at Amendment 4 and that polling that, again, you mentioned was done at close to the beginning of the year, what did that polling at that time reveal about how likely voters felt about this?
So in general, right, there was some opinion, but it's one of those things, right, where you ask people an opinion and they give you an opinion. People hadn't really thought a whole lot about it at that point, and they certainly weren't getting the kind of education that you get when people start to actually put up their ads and start to send out their mailings. And so in general, people had some support for it, but it was pretty weak. And if you look at what's going on right now in terms of spending, the opposition to 4 is outspending the people who are in favor of 4 pretty dramatically. And so I'm guessing that what we've seen over the last couple of weeks and what we'll see in the next week and a half or so before the election itself is really going to push people probably in opposition to 4 a whole lot more than you're going to see ads pushing people in favor of 4.
All right, Chris, really appreciate your time with us this morning on this.
Yeah, not a problem. Happy to be with you. Thanks.
That is Chris Duncan, political science professor at St. Louis University, joining us this morning here on KMOX. Coming up next, Roxana teachers are going public with some contract issues that they have apparently been having for months with the district. We're going to talk with them coming up, and we've also reached out to the district to get their response to an educational picket that's happening today outside the district offices. First, though, we need to get you updated on the roads on this Thursday morning. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. How are things rolling, Roger?
Well, they're still working the crash on 44, Megan. This traffic reports the Service of Financial and Tax Strategies. The crash eastbound 44 just before Kings Highway. Right lane still blocked. 44 Laclede Station to Shrewsbury slow, and it jams Jameson to Kings Highway after that till you get past that crash scene. Northbound 270, Big Bend up through Manchester's busy. Southbound 61, a backup both sides of Highway P, like midway down to Wentzville Parkway, and then it's slow at 70. Southbound 79, Dyer Road down to Hackman, still stop-and-go pockets. That's from the earlier restrictions on 61 with that semi-crash that was cleared a bit ago. Eastbound 64 still heavy east of Lindbergh to Big Bend. Westbound 64 McCausland to Hanley slow. South 170 delays at Brentwood. Illinois drivers westbound 64 Ball Avenue to the Poplar heavy pockets. Eastbound 270 slow approaching 111, and westbound 270 a jam 111 to 203 due to the crash we had earlier at the Canal Bridge. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
If your retirement plan is mostly what if and a little fingers crossed, you deserve better answers than that. Check out Wealth and Wisdom Saturdays at 7 a.m. here on KMOX. I'm Gary Goldberg. Call 800-966-1690.
Hazy sunshine today, mixing with clouds, a high of 87. Partly cloudy tonight with a low of 71. And then tomorrow, mostly cloudy, a couple of showers and thunderstorms possible, mainly in the afternoon into tomorrow night. A high tomorrow of 84 degrees. We have sunshine today, 71 in Florissant and St. Peters, 72 downtown at the Arch.
Registered lobbyist Mike Deering is not the kind of guy you want in the state Senate.
Did you say he was a registered lobbyist?
Sure did. When conservatives like Tricia Burns tried to pass a bill to take back the 300,000 acres in Missouri allowed to be controlled by China, lobbyist Mike Deering testified against it. When conservatives like Tricia Burns fought alongside Missouri cattlemen to require foreign beef to be labeled, lobbyist Mike Deering testified against that too. While conservatives like Tricia Burns are fighting to protect your farmland from being paved over by data centers, lobbyist Mike Deering described Google's Montgomery County hyperscale data center as a
very positive thing.
Deering also endorsed liberal Democrat Chris Koster for governor and openly mocked President Trump. Registered lobbyist Mike Deering, anti-Trump, pro-Democrat, bought out by foreign ag interest, and in love with data centers. Take down data center Deering on August 4th. Vote America First conservative warrior Tricia Burns for state senate.
Paid for by Mo Constitutional Conservative Council PAC, Scott Lady Treasurer.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-329-1010. That's 1-800-329-1010. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-329-1010. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
I'm Megan Lynch, and you're back with Total Information AM here on KMOX. As we reported last week, a federal mediator has been called in to help resolve a contract dispute between Roxana, Illinois teachers in the district. And today, teachers are holding an informational picket in front of the district's administration building on the same day that parents are registering their children for school. Joining me now on the Quiver River Electric Guest Line, Roxana Education Association President Kim Jones. Kim, thanks for joining me.
Hi, good morning.
So are you out in front of the district at this point?
Yes, I am. I'm sitting in my car right now, but we have about 12 educators standing out front, and we have several coming throughout the day. We're doing 2-hour shifts all day long.
So let's talk about what's been happening with contract negotiations. How long have you been at the bargaining table with the district?
We've been at the table since January. We started, we went over ground rules in January, and then really starting in March is when we really started coming to the table on a regular basis.
When does your contract expire with the district?
Our contract has already expired.
So what's that mean for the fall for your teachers?
So currently, we will be returning to school without a contract, and that, that gives teachers really an uneasy feeling, not knowing where we're going, what it means for the following year. We've only started the school year once since I've been here without a contract, and it doesn't make a good start to the school year.
I think that was about a decade ago?
Yes.
Okay. What are the sticking points in your negotiations?
So currently we're still talking about our vacancy language. We are trying to keep language that we currently have in our contract that allows teachers the opportunity to go into open positions before those positions are put out to the public. That's probably one of the biggest things that we have on the table. We are still talking about money and some pay for internal substitution. So when we have a position that we need a substitute for, but we don't have a substitute to fill it, our teachers take their planning time and they sub in different classrooms to fill that need. So we're still talking about that as well.
Anything else that's on the table between teachers and the district?
We still have health insurance on the table, but those are really the main things that are open.
I want to talk a little bit about teacher pay. Over the years, looking at, for example, the Illinois report card data that came out, I think it was last year, Roxana teachers, when you compare the average salary to other districts in the area, you do fairly well. Is this a hard sell when people are looking at numbers like that?
We have typically been one of the higher paid districts in the area until recently. In the last year to 2 years, other districts have started to pass us up. So it's not so much about the amount of money that we make, it's about being able to retain the teachers that we have. The current proposal on the table from the district really shows more value to new teachers at the very bottom of the scale, which we don't really hire very many people there. And it's not really working to retain our teachers with the most experience that have built those relationships with the community and with families and with our students, which is ultimately what this is about. We want to retain our teachers that have those relationships with families. Like myself, my mother graduated from Roxana. I graduated from Roxana. My children graduated from Roxana. I live in the district. This is about our families and community and keeping those people that have those ties to our kiddos.
Are you worried, even though this is an informational picket, that this will be upsetting for parents and even kids as they come to that district office to register for school today?
We are worried about that, and that's why we felt like we needed to picket informationally today, because we don't want to start the school year and parents not have any idea that we're coming back without a contract and that we're still negotiating with the board.
What is the next step in negotiations, Kim?
We are currently waiting for them to give us their last proposal, and then we will take that to our whole union body and see what they think. We have had meetings of the whole with our whole union body, and we know the direction that our teachers want us to go. Currently, what is on the table would mean that some of our teachers are actually bringing home less money than what they would have been last year. And that is very concerning for us.
Is that due to the substitution rules that have been proposed?
No, our insurance has gone up. That's part of it. And then they want to restructure our salary schedule that we just restructured a couple years ago.
Gotcha. So I'm wondering if a strike is being considered at this point.
At this point, we have no intention of striking. However, that being said, we are willing to do whatever's necessary to make sure that we have the best contract in place that supports our students and our community and our teachers.
Kim, thank you so much for your time this morning. We appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.
Again, that is Kim Jones, president of the Roxana Teachers Union, the Roxana Education Association. KMOX News has reached out to the district this morning to give them an opportunity to respond to this. We have not heard back from them yet. It's now 8:29, and this time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Breaking news. Missouri will vote on Amendment 4 this August. Right now, a ballot measure passes in Missouri if it gets a majority of votes statewide. Amendment 4 would permanently end that. If Amendment 4 passes, it would rewrite the Missouri Constitution. So instead of using the total statewide vote to decide if something is approved, a measure would need to win a majority of votes separately in each of Missouri's 8 congressional districts in order to pass. So one district could veto the will of most Missourians. That means with Amendment 4, just 5% of voters could overrule what the majority of Missouri citizens want. Opponents of Amendment 4 say it undermines the sacred principle of one person, one vote, and takes away the people's power, giving it to politicians and special interests instead. Protect Majority Rule. Vote no on Amendment 4. Paid for by Protect Majority Rule Missouri, Mike Pridmore, Treasurer.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.
Let's head back to the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center and get the latest on your ride into work with Roger Brand.
Well, Megan, they're still working the crash. The flatbed's on the scene now, but the right lane's still blocked. Eastbound 44 before Kings Highway. Traffic on 44 is a little slow at Laclede Station, then it jams. from about the Southwest Avenue on-ramp up to that crash just before Kings Highway. Northbound 270, Big Bend to Manchester, slow. Out west, southbound 61, busy. Wentzville Parkway down to 70. Southbound 79, south of Dyer to Hackman. Still some heavy traffic, and then it's a little backup at North Main Street after that. Eastbound 64, east of Lindbergh into Big Bend, still on the brakes. South 170, delays at the Parkway. Westbound 64, Ball Avenue to the Poplar, still a couple of slow spots. And eastbound 5570 from 111 Midway into Black Lane is slow. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Thank you, Roger. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, hazy sunshine mixing with clouds today, a high of 87. Partly cloudy tonight with a low of 71. Tomorrow, more clouds, and we could see some showers and thunderstorms, a high of 84. Sunny skies now, 72 downtown at the Arch. Your Money Report is next.
Brought to you by Staples.
All right, it's officially the most wonderful time of the year at Staples. They've got back-to-school supplies as low as 25 cents, up to 40% off select tech, 20% off for teachers, and more. Check out all the deals at staples.com/back-to-school. Staples, that was easy.
I'm Bill Eigel. I'm a no on data centers. Last year, when a new hyperscale data center was up for a vote in St. Charles City, I'm the only candidate for county executive who stood with you in opposition. Meanwhile, Steve Ellman was writing op-eds in support of data centers. In fact, he spent $400,000 of your taxpayer money to identify 6 locations just for data centers in St. Charles County. I'm Bill Eigel, and if you don't want data centers in our county, then I'm asking for your vote on August 4th.
Paid for by Eigel from Missouri. Lisa Borchers, treasurer.
You guys know Zero Res, the zero residue carpet cleaner that leaves your carpets truly clean with no dirt attracting soaps or harsh chemicals. Don't risk it with the other guys and skip the do-it-yourself disasters that leave your carpets soaked for days. This month, get 3 rooms of carpet zero resified starting at just $129. Call 314-474-2020 or you can book online at ZeroResSTL.com. Just ask for the DGS special at ZeroResSTL.com.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Hey, it's Brew, and I feel like everything in my life depends on being connected. Whether I'm uploading a video, hopping on a call before my show, or video chatting with my family back in Michigan, I never have to think about my Wi-Fi. And that's why Xfinity stands out. You get the most reliable, fiber-powered Wi-Fi with the best equipment at one price for 5 years guaranteed. No contracts or commitments. Plus, you can get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Use of fiber or coaxial cable. Learn more at Xfinity.com/same-day Wi-Fi. Xfinity. Imagine that.
Your Money Report now. It's sponsored by Eamon Gattner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Courtney Donahoe.
Adidas went all in on the World Cup at a cost. The athletic brand posted lower than expected quarterly profit after it splurged on marketing during the event. Adidas bet big on the World Cup, releasing jerseys and merchandise months before rivals such as Nike. But its earnings miss is reflecting a sharp rise in costs, swallowing up the benefit of strong sales. And a diamond empire may be sold at a fraction of its former value. Anglo American is in talks to offload De Beers for about $1 billion. That's a steep drop since 2001, when the diamond giant was worth more than $18 billion. The diamond industry has been struggling with the rising popularity of synthetic stones and a collapse in Chinese luxury spending. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
It's Tom Ackerman for McKelvey Homes, the Reserve at Wildwood, a premier development located on 50 acres at the southwest corner of 109 and 100. Check it out, the heart of Wildwood. This community offering a stunning collection of homes from McKelvey Homes, high-quality craftsmanship and style that McKelvey is known for. The Reserve at Wildwood, more than just a place to live, outdoor lovers will love it as well. Planned with families and outdoor lovers in mind. A private playground, picturesque rain gardens, miles of walking trails that wind through scenic green spaces. You're going to love the Reserve at Wildwood, and they're also very close to the Wildwood Town Center, Rockwood's Reservation, Babbler State Park, Rockwood School District. McKelvey Homes is known for this, the best home sites. You'll experience the perfect blend of luxury living and natural beauty. McKelvey Homes. Move up to McKelvey.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. And now we're customizing this ad for your morning commute to wake you up, which could help your driving. Science says that stimulating the brain increases alertness. So here's a pop quiz. How many months have 28 days? What gets wetter as it dries? What has keys but can't open locks? If you don't want to hear the answers, turn off this Liberty Mutual ad now. 12 months, a towel, piano. Enjoy being fully alert.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Bill, you're an old politician.
Yup, sure am.
So you know the old-timers warned that someone trying to sell you a pig in a poke was a con man.
Well, sure.
Well, no offense, Tom, but your Politicians Amendment 5 is a pig in a poke, allowing politicians to raise our taxes without a vote of the people. And the Politicians Amendment 4 takes away our power to do anything about it. Well, let's look at what's really inside Ford 5.
Oh, don't do that.
5 hits hardest seniors and those struggling financially with new taxes on services like doctor visits, in-home care, and rent. Sales taxes could more than triple. For up to 80% of Missourians, it's a tax hike. And Amendment 4 ends majority rule, effectively ending our power to stop corrupt and out-of-control politicians.
Slick plan, huh?
No, Tom. 4 and 5 are schemes that hurt citizens and transfer our power and our money to politicians and lobbyists. That's why I'm voting no on the Politicians Amendments 4 and 5, paid for by Missourians for Fair Government.
Hey guys, this is Kevin Wheeler. If you're looking for a little kick in the pants when it comes to dropping a little weight, getting better shape, getting more into the gym, think about Burn Balance Complex, which you can pick up at Supplement Superstores. I've been using it since it came out. It's fantastic. You notice right away the difference. Look, we all have busy schedules. I do and you do. You know, we all have problems sometimes with controlling our eating patterns and staying on a plan. Well, Burn Balance Complex makes that so much easier. It's not magic, but it definitely helps make it easier. It is a complete metabolism system. It's not just a fat burner. So what you're talking about is a natural weight loss option. So if you're a person that doesn't want to go get a prescription, you're not into injections, this is a great choice for you. In addition to the metabolism boost, you get to lower stress and cortisol levels, you get better sleep. It can help control appetite and cravings, all-day focused energy with no jitters, no crash at the end of the day. If you want the help, and look, we all need it, I know I do, go to Supplement Superstores, tell them your story, mention Kevin Wheeler, and they'll knock 30% off the Burn Balance Complex. You can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
This is 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. Starbucks has reported better than expected quarterly revenue and profit. The Seattle company says its business grew across customer income levels and in the morning as well as the afternoon. St. Louis police investigating whether a Tuesday night incident was an intentional ambush of law enforcement. City officers, ATF agents, and bystanders came under a rapid fire after a traffic stop. And St. Louis County health officials report 117 confirmed cases of cyclospora, the parasitic infection that causes extreme gastrointestinal distress. Traffic now with Roger Brand from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it looks like they're close to wrapping up the crash on eastbound 44 near Kings Highway, Megan. This traffic reports the service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm, but it looks like the right lane's still blocked, but cars look like they're loaded up on the flatbeds. Delays back through Southwest Avenue. It's backed up through there. It's also still a little slow at Laclede Station and a little slow out west to east of Bowles, eastbound 44 as well. Northbound 270. Big Bend up through Manchester, the busiest part. Eastbound 64 east of Lindbergh to Big Bend's heavy. South 170 delays at the Parkway. Southbound 79 just a little slow at North Main Street. Now it's a lot better. Westbound 64 Ball Avenue to the 70 split slow. Eastbound 64 3rd Street on the 5570 and entering that construction area is backed up. And then 5570 still a little slow just past 111. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sandberg Phoenix serves your business in litigation, intellectual property, and products liability. We're more than a law firm. We're committed to your success. Learn more at sandbergphoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
We'll have a sunny day today. A few clouds, though, as well. A high of 87 degrees. Partly cloudy tonight with an overnight low of 71. And then tomorrow we may see a couple of showers and thunderstorms. Otherwise, cloudy skies, a high of 84. We have sunshine, 74 downtown at the Arch. Thanks for listening to Total Information AM. I'm Megan Lynch. Here's our Debbie Monterey.
There's a new book, Webster Groves, A Walk Through History, and the author, Steve Schoenbeck, is joining us right now. Tell me the start of Webster Groves, because it is sort of a classic all-American suburb in which it has a square, it has leafy streets. It's definitely one of our older suburbs, but where did it begin?
Is. And it's like Kirkwood, and I'd say Eureka. It's one of the suburbs that was basically created by the arrival of the train. The Missouri Pacific Railroad started in downtown St. Louis in roughly summer of 1851. And by 1853, it had reached Webster, and where it crossed a street known as Church Street, then now North Gore, that really became the nucleus for development of a little business community and then residential.
Where did the name come from? Was it named after someone?
Very good question. There was a minister of the First Presbyterian Church in St. Louis named Artemus Bullard. And in the 1840s, he had established an outreach church a little bit north of present-day Webster. It was at Manchester Road and McKnight, or Rock Hill Road, and he called that the Rock Hill Presbyterian Church. He also had the idea that he wanted to establish a boys' school, and he did that, and he called it the Webster College for Boys. And he named it Webster because he had come from the New England area where Daniel Webster was a very prominent senator, a man who spoke eloquently for the preservation of the Union. And to honor Daniel Webster, he called his school the Webster Academy. When the train reached this point, they needed a name for a railroad stop, and they named it the Webster Station to honor his school that was just a couple blocks away. By the way, that building that we call the Old Rock House is still there today. It was built about 1853. It's now on the KVC Missouri campus in North Webster.
You mentioned the train being essential in the formation of Webster Groves. Was it a passenger train? Because that was still very far out in the 1800s, Webster Groves, from the center city.
Yes, it actually was a passenger train, and between, let's say, 1850s and 1900, there were very frequent commuter trains every day that would go out at least as far as Kirkwood, and it was really a convenient means for the businessmen and shoppers. There would be shopper specials to take the women, to take the businessmen from Webster Groves into the city. So it was very handy. Then later, there were arriving trolley lines, two trolley lines that passed through Webster, and that helped as well. But in addition to the Missouri Pacific, later there was the Frisco Railroad that kind of went through Old Orchard. So both of those trains would take people into the city and back. It was very handy for commuting.
Now, your book does have some guided tours for people who want to walk around or drive around and learn more about Webster Groves. It has so many beautiful homes, but what are some of the more historic or noteworthy ones?
Well, some of our older ones, we have Richard Lockwood was a steamboat captain for a while, and then he went into ship chandlery, which is kind of provisioning. He built a home in 1853 that is still there. Today it's on the campus of Nearings High School. But he was kind of among the vanguard of St. Louisans. In 1853, that was not long after the cholera plague in the city of St. Louis in 1849, and a big fire along the riverfront that same year. And a lot of the citizens of St. Louis were feeling a little nervous, looking for a little healthier place to maybe raise children. Lockwood's home is one of the early ones. They came as a kind of a country retreat, but then that became their permanent home later on. John Helfenstein was another early landowner who bought 60 acres out here. His house is still standing along the Rock Hill Road near Swan Avenue. So we have a number of homes built in the latter part of the 19th century, in the 1860s, 70s, 80s. And I'd like to think that on the tour you do get an education on architecture because you see the gradual change away from the more ornate Victorian styles to a plainer style suited to modern suburbia.
In a lot of bigger cities, the inner ring suburbs, a suburb like Webster Groves, they've kind of fallen into disarray as people spread out. Obviously, St. Louis has spread out a lot, but Webster Groves has remained much the same. What do you account for that?
That's a good question. Webster has made a point to try to keep out commercial, and that's both good and bad. The rumor is that we were offered Crestwood Plaza when it went in. Webster chose not to do that. That doesn't help our tax revenues, but I think we've always been conscious of trying to maintain that charming housing structure, I would say, and the trees. We've made an effort to do that. It's just been an attractive suburb because of its proximity to the city. But I hear what you're saying on some of the inner ring suburbs. I think Webster has just done a better job of maintaining its place as a desirable residential community.
Well, whether you live there or you'd like to learn more, it's Webster Groves, a walk through history. And the author is Steve Schoenbeck. Thanks for sharing some of the little Webster tidbits with us this morning.
You're very welcome.
Coming up next on Total Information AM, Google is training its artificial intelligence on more of your data. We're going to find out more from Burton Kelso, the technology expert, next.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
Can you believe politicians nearly doubled state spending since 2019? Yeah, that's twice the rate of inflation.
What do we get for all that extra spending? Nothing.
Yeah, and get this, over 200 loopholes are buried in our tax code, written by lobbyists for wealthy corporations.
Our tax code is rigged against us.
We get taxed on our paycheck, our home, everything we buy.
I guess somebody's got to pay for all that spending.
That's why we need Amendment 5. It puts politicians on a leash.
Forces them to cut taxes and control spending, whether they like it or not.
Amendment 5 closes the loopholes, eliminates income taxes, cuts property taxes, and gives $3,000 a year to average working families.
We decide, not the politicians.
Amendment 5 is the biggest tax cut in Missouri history.
I'm voting yes on Amendment 5. Paid for by Missouri Promise PAC. Mark Ellinger, Treasurer.
The soundtrack of classic rock is coming to Hollywood Casino Amphitheater August 6th. Leonard Skinner and Foreigner joining forces for one epic night of legendary hits and unforgettable memories. It's the Double Trouble Double Vision Tour. From Sweet Home Alabama to Cold as Ice. Don't miss your chance to experience these two rock and roll Hall of Fame acts in one incredible show. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX.
You're listening to Total Information AM here on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Google recently changed privacy settings to allow the company to store more user data to try to improve its AI. So what's that mean for you? With me now, technology expert Burton Kelso, owner of Integral, based in Kansas City. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks, Megan. This is crazy with Google, isn't it, and what they're doing?
It is a little bit. And I think when you look at the list of user data that Google wants to store to improve its AI, it's pretty impressive.
It really is. And I think what people need to understand as far as Google and the whole AI and collecting data for, it's not to necessarily spy on you. Google wants to offer a complete picture as far as things that you want as far as your Google experience is concerned, especially with Google using Gemini as their AI tool. They want it to be able to capture the essence of what you want, so that the AI chatbot is able to deliver more of the things that you want in your life. I mean, that's the purpose of, that's one of the purposes of Google Gemini, which is kind of separate of Google itself, where they're collecting your data so that they can better direct advertisers toward you. And I think people should understand with Google, Google is one of those companies that's going to keep your data safe and just in-house. They're not one of these loosey-goosey companies that is going to suffer a large-scale data breach, and the next thing you know, all your data is on the dark web. So I think people shouldn't be as concerned, but also too, Google is giving people a way to opt out of this. And I think this lets you know that Google is a company that thinks about its users and saying, hey, if you want to be a part of this program, you can. But if you don't, we understand, and you can definitely opt out of it.
So let's talk about some of the things that Google does want to store. Can you give us some ideas of what they're going to keep?
Right. So Google basically wants to keep all of your Google searches. They want to keep your location. They also want to be able to keep places that you shop at, just again, to help you get a better experience when you are using Google. It's no different than Amazon with Alexa monitoring the same things that allows the Alexa device to give you more of an overall interactive experience. So those are the things that Google wants to collect, again, to help the AI and Google itself get a better understanding of you so that you can get the stuff that you want.
Should you be concerned at all about things like your photos or Google Lens, or maybe if you've got a pair of the new AI glasses, content from that being saved?
Well, again, Google is one of those companies like most financial organizations where they have basically Fort Knox protection, meaning that it's going to take a lot for a criminal to get access to that information. Usually the information that Google has stored is encrypted in the cloud. So if someone were to get into Google's computers, they would just see a bunch of gibberish and not your personal information. But yeah, the things that are affected as far as Google is concerned are Google Lenses, Google Maps, hotels, news, flights, all of that information to give you more of a personal storage. Now, keep in mind that Google isn't after information that's in Google Drive. So if you've got personal information that you have uploaded to Google Drive or Google Photos, that isn't touched. It's just your overall Google experience is what they want, because they want you to have a better experience when you use your Google search and when you use Google Gemini, the AI chatbot.
So you stay on their platform, right?
Well, of course, yeah. Why would you leave Google, right?
Now, could that have some drawbacks? For example, if you kind of are in an echo chamber in a way that you're not seeing things that might interest you, but because of the way AI works, you're just being funneled down the same path every time?
Not necessarily. I think that's a good question, Megan. And I think one of the things that we have to look at is Google's AI versus some of the other AI chatbots out there, say like Microsoft Copilot or even ChatGPT. In those environments, you're steered a little bit more towards, well, we want you to buy our product. And with ChatGPT and with Microsoft Copilot, because obviously with Copilot, Microsoft wants you to go into the OneDrive, Microsoft Word, Excel arena. So you may be a little bit limited as far as those chatbots are concerned, but Google wants you to have access to the world, because as you said, Google wants you to use Google for everything and stay in that environment. So they are going to bring you the world, and which is one of the reasons why they are collecting all of this data so that you have a robust experience when you use their products.
How hard is this feature to turn off if people have listened to all this and they still think, no, I don't want to share those things?
Oh, it's pretty darn simple, but you've got to go down the rabbit hole in order to get it to go into, because basically you've got to log into your Google account, and then you've got to search for a product called Services History. Once you go there, you just need to click a button that says, or uncheck the button that says Save Your Media, and then that's it. But again, how in the heck are you going to get into that? And I think a lot of it means you have to go into your Google account, and who knows how to go into their Google account? I guarantee you no one. But the quick and easy to get into your Google account is that little circle that has your initials or your picture. That's how you access and get into your Google account.
All right. And Burton, if our listeners want to find out more about you, where can they go?
I'm all over the internet, so I'm on social media, but the quickest way is to go to my website, burtonkelso.com, and got all sorts of useful information there to help people get more from the technology they use.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Health Trends, sponsored by LensSeek.
The World Health Organization projects global cancer cases will nearly double by the year 2050, surging to 35 million diagnoses annually, while